Okay, the webinar is not Broward. Okay. Oh my goodness. Participants, already have participants. Tandy, Kathy. Hi guys, how are you? Welcome, welcome. I am so excited to share in this journey with you. We'll be starting in about 8 minutes. Get comfortable, grab a tea. So awesome. You guys can talk in the chat section. Maybe you can let me know where you're from. Where are you from? Crystal Beach. Awesome. Welcome, Lynette. Hello, Kathy. Kathy, your hair looks so good. Your beautiful gray hair. I can't believe you're already fully transitioned. I think you beat me, girlfriend. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. There we go. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Just going through my list to see who here. Franny. Hi, Franny. Janine, I'm going to promote you to panelist. There we go. Joe, Lynette, Susan. Oh, there's Nikki. We'll promote you to panelist. Hi, Susan. I can't wait to see you soon. So great. You guys can type messages to me. I would love to hear from you. Connect through. Hi, Nikki. Nikki, can you see and hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And you're ready to go?
Yep.
Are you being shy?
Yep.
Love you. Why am I so nervous? Why am I nervous? Ella was so excited for you. Oh, you're sweet. Well, probably because you've seen me give it birth for 2 years, right?
It's just your pick, Janine. So on the bottom left, you should see a start video button.
Okay. Do you hear me?
I
Yes.
hear you. Yep.
Yay. Okay.
So let me see here if we've got anything frozen. We might have to go into settings just to make sure we don't have any special, because I can't see your face. Have you tried to showcase your face?
No.
Okay, because I mean, I can see you. It's like, do you have your video off?
That's a good question. Let me see.
Bottom left. Oh,
Here I am.
okay. We can see you. There she is. Hi, beautiful.
How are you?
I am so great. Look at you, all spring-like. We got April. Hi, April. April's in my book. She's actually one of the gals that has shared her story in my book. Welcome, April. We met online too. She's in Ontario. And she went gray way before me. Like we're talking like 25 years ago. So you want to check out her brave story, that's for sure. Who else do we have that I get to say hello? April. Brad. Hi, Brad. Brad's my boyfriend. I'm starting my book launch now, so I can't talk. Okay. Okay, there we go. Bye-bye. Sorry about that teenager stuff, you know.
Oh, yeah.
They always call it the right time, right? We can relate to that as parents. Okay, so I
Yep.
just want to say welcome, guys. We're going to get started here. I'm just going to go through and Nikki, if you want to see if you can see any of our guest speakers on, because we can promote them to panelists. Oh,
Yeah,
I
I
see
will.
Karen. I see Karen Scott. That's my stepmom in Red Deer. Hi. Hi, Karen. Hi, Mom. See who else I get to see. Hi, Tracy. Oh,
Nicole,
hi,
you're going to have to
Winnie.
promote them because it won't let me promote them.
I will. Okay. Just see if there's anybody that I'm missing. And I'll probably, if I don't see them, I'm going to have to get you to reach out to them to make sure that they have the code. So if you want to, because I don't see them on, if you want to reach out to my mom, Zach.
Your mom's on. I saw her. Janice right here. She's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, there she is. I see my mom. Okay, hold on. So I'm promoting my mom. Okay, so she's on. Okay, perfect. Wonder if
Sydney's on. Hi, Sydney.
I'm gonna make you co-host, okay, Nikki? And if I make you co-host, just see if you can start to convert some of these people.
Yep, now I have the option.
Oh, thank gosh, you're gonna save me. Did you say that you saw my daughter? Oh, my daughter's
Yep,
on.
she's on
She's
there.
at her dad's this week. We go back and forth, and I just said it would be so nice if you got on. She's my baby. I got Adriana Girdler. Hi, hello, hello. Oh, it's so nice to, you know what I think we'll do at the end is I want to see everybody's faces is I'll get Nikki to promote all of us to panelists so that we can see everybody. How's that? Oh, my heart is just racing right now. I'm like so excited. Hi, Mom. Okay.
Hi, Nick. Good to see everyone. Hi, Panja. Hi to Adrienne.
Look at that silver, Mom. So beautiful. Okay, and we got Dawn on. Yay, Dawn. So excited. Well, at least we've got our first two speakers on, so. Okay, I think I'll get started because I feel like I have a really, really tight schedule. I'm even organized, guys, look at that. So I'm gonna get started. We ready? I'm gonna do 2 deep breaths with you guys. One more. I have my love oil going right now, my essential oil, just to raise that vibration, okay? So I'm sending you guys all love. I'm sending you guys all gratitude to just taking time out of your busy schedule, your crazy schedule, your isolation schedule, whatever that looks like for you. I know it's a little crazy for a lot of people, but thank you so much for jumping on my official book launch. Looking at the positive of not being physically with you is I get to have more people on from around the world. So you always have to find the good in this. So I'm just grateful that you have shown up. This will be recorded. So I know that there was a lot of people that couldn't get on. We'll get that out to you, no problem. So welcome. Thank you for being on here. My name is Nicole Scott. So if I've got new fans on here, thank you. It's so lovely to connect with you. I just quickly tell you a little bit about who I am. So who am I? First off, I'm a mom of 2 teenagers. I live just outside of Toronto, Canada. I'm almost 50. 50 will be my big year this year. So what a gift to me, launching my first book before I hit 50. Actually, my goal was to go gray before I was 50. So I think I'm there, which is great. Well, who else am I? I actually retired from the corporate world. I used to be in sales in the food industry. I had a sick kiddo and she inspired me to go back to school. So then my second career was I was a holistic nutritionist, and I have been doing that type of work for the last 15 years. So blessed to be able to help people feel better from the inside out. I also partnered about 15 years ago with the Juice Plus company. I am one of their top leaders in the world, which is kind of cool because I get to connect to this like-minded, healthy community and work with my mom in that community, which is kind of cool. And then a couple years ago, I got a nudge. I got, as I like to say, spirit kicked me out of bed way too early in the morning, and Dawn knows this story all too well. And the reality was I listened to that nudge. And how many of us listen to nudges or ignore those nudges? And I decided to listen to that 4 a.m. nudge. And the nudge was go downstairs and start to write. And I was like, you want me to write about my gray hair journey? Who, me? And there was a lot of insecurity around that because I don't see myself as a writer. I never have. If anybody in my family was a writer, it was my mom. And I was always in awe of her beauty of writing. We also have Janine on here who you will meet. If you follow her on social media, and she'll tell you how to follow. She's a poet, so her words just like, oh my gosh. So the first thing we do is when we get an idea, we can start to compare ourselves, right? Oh, I can't write as good as my mom. I can't write as good as Janine. Dawn James, oh my gosh, she's written like 7 books and she's so elegant. Like, so that's what went on in my head. So if any of you have ever thought about writing a book in those fears and then they shut you down, I think it's so normal. And I hope Dawn touches a little bit on those fears in the beginning. And that's where I was. But I wrote. I just would get up in the morning and I would write. And you're like, well, why did you start writing about like gray hair and going gray? Well, in the summer of 2018, I got a scare. I found actually 2 lumps in my breasts. And I went to my naturopath. She had highly suspected that they felt different than a cyst. And pretty much she was telling me like, they feel like cancer bumps. So I freaked out. I went to the walk-in. It was a female. She right away confirmed. She was like, yep, does not feel normal. You need to go right away and get these checked out. So it took me about 3 days to get in. We got tested. I lived in the unknown for a week. What if I have cancer? That scared me. I don't know if there's any people on here that have ever gotten a like, what if, or you've gone through it. Just my heart goes out to you because it's not a fun thing to live with or go through. I know I have a lot of people in my circle that have had to go through and fought, and some didn't survive and some did survive. So it's not a fun disease. And in that week, this is what the question that I asked myself. Nicole, you're a healthy life expert. You're a holistic nutritionist. You've been helping people for 15 years be the best version of themselves. Are you walking the talk? Are you doing everything possible to reduce the level of chemicals that are showing up in your world that you can control? And I went back to the books, just like I was in nutritional school 15 plus years ago, and I started to dig in. And one of the first biggest culprits that I discovered that I was like, I was doing to myself, that I was naive about, not paying attention about, not making it a priority, was hair dye. So I remember going into my hairdresser and asking, can you get the box out that you've been putting on my head every 3 weeks because I had long dark hair. And can I take I want to take a picture of the ingredients. And I went back and I researched every single ingredient. And in that, I discovered that some of those ingredients had been proven to be carcinogenic, so cancer-like, organ toxicity, reproductive toxicity, lung issues, allergies, and I mean, the list went on. And I just went like this, how are these ingredients even allowed in our products? And I live in Canada, and we have a little bit stricter rules than the US. I think out of all the countries in the world, the US has the least regulation, unfortunately, guys. European has one of the stronger ones. So a lot of ingredients that are allowed on our labels here in Canada aren't allowed in Europe because they're cancer causing, but they're still in our labels and ingredients today. And then here's what was alarming when I started to dig in: 75% of women around the world dye their hair. So why did I have to write this book? Who did I write this book for? I wrote this book for all the women that have ever dyed their hair and have never paid attention to the possibilities of the ingredients. So this book is a message about awareness. No shaming, there's no shame, there's no judgments if you're not ready to go. That's why there's a whole chapter in this book about I'm not ready, but how can I do it differently? How can I do it healthier? And then I wrote this book also for all the women of all ages and all races that had ever struggled with body image, hormone issues, the dreaded muffin top that shows up and you don't even know where it came from, mental health issues, shame issues, all the stuff that I have ever struggled with and that my clients have struggled with. So this book was downloaded divinely to me. I'm very spiritual. Thank goodness 15 years ago, I found God again in a really interesting path. And my last chapter, my last chapter is You Are Not Alone. And that's all of my last 15 years of being connected to the divine energy that I had forgotten about. And I really believe if I never tapped into that energy, I wouldn't be here today with this book. That's how powerful that energy can be when you tap in and you listen and you ask for help and guidance. And I never knew how to do that. But I found a lot of people along the way to show me that path, which is kind of cool. And one of them are going to show up a little bit later, Zach, who's going to talk to me, and I have a few of them on here. So a couple things about how the rest of the day is going to flow. I'm kind of shaking because I'm so excited. And I got my message out there to you guys. Now you know why I wrote the book, who I wrote it for. So a couple things. There will be, there are going to be 6 prizes that we are going to give away at the end. Anywhere from healthy hair and body products, from a couple of my programs that I do online, book giveaways, and much more. Nikki Webb, my personal assistant that's been with me for 5 years, is on here. She's going to help me with that. So what you need to do is pay attention to each speaker, because she's going to pick something out of each of their talks. I'm going to have a question at the end, and if you get it right, the first person who gets it right gets the prize. So that's awesome. I just want to do a big shout out to everybody that has contributed to this book. If you've ever written a book, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It was almost like ignorance on fire. And, you know, thank gosh I found Dawn James, and she's going to be our first speaker, but she held my hand from the start. And I'm so grateful for her. But I just want to read off a few key people that really helped put this book together. Of course, Dawn James, she's published in promotion, and I feel like she's a friend of mine because she has gone over and above to help me get this book into the market. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, Dawn, for stepping up and holding my hand like a baby, because I needed all the help I could get. Andrea Lemieux, she's out of Toronto, and I believe she's on here. She's the editor. And Dawn said, Nicole, we need to find you the right editor. And I have a number of them. And she's like, divine timing. when we got on for our first call or an interview with her to see if she was the right fit, she goes, "Oh, Nicole, I just want to let you know." And Dawn didn't even know this about Andrew because I went gray, so I'm gray. So that was the first connection. I'm like, oh, she can relate to my story. And then she said, oh, in my second career, I was actually a holistic nutritionist. I was like, bam, bam. So the divine found the right editor, because going through this book, there's a lot of health element to it. And so to find somebody that's an editor that used to be a nutritionist and got my message, I'm so grateful for you, Andrea. You're just such a beautiful human being and a talent. Franny Armstrong, book cover design, cover photo, the naked photo of me. So just so you know, I am wearing underwear. My daughters were like, were you fully naked? I'm like, I had underwear on, don't worry. Is Babes Club Bouture, and I met her through a networking group, and she does these beautiful, and I had reached out to her, and actually one of my dear friends had done a session with her a couple years ago, and she showed me her work, and I was like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so talented. So grateful for doing that beautiful shoot. It was such an experience. And then Pursue Design, which is just the interior layout and design. Again, just really going back and forth and tweaking it. It was so funny when it came back, it was in 12 font. And we had talked on, and I am like, no, the font needs to be bigger. She goes, oh, okay, we missed that. I said, I don't care how much it costs. My audience, we need at least 14. We need 14 girlfriends. So we went back and we had to get the whole book redone. And let me say, I love it because I don't know, I do a lot of reading. And it's just such an easier, beautiful process when the words are a little bit bigger. So thank you, Dawn, for being so patient for me or with me. So I think I'm gonna wrap up. I'm just looking to make sure I've caught everything here. I think I have. I will definitely recognize a few more of you at the end because, you know, there's so many of you in this book that you contributed, you know, to my beautiful book, Get Naked with Your Natural Hair Color. I've got friends in here that decided to share their story. I've got a couple of my hairdressers that own organic hair salons that I got to interview. I got to interview presidents of hair companies and their journey about why they decided to go more organic and clean. Who else do I have in here? I have some of my spiritual connections like Zach and Carolyn DuPont and Adriana. Am I missing anybody? Just powerful people that really helped me on my spiritual journey. You know, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. Dr. Mitra Ray, you'll hear from a little bit later. Jen Pike, you'll hear from a little bit later. That will just talk about a little bit about the contribution that they have put into this book. So on that note, I get to pass the baton over to Dawn James. Dawn James and I met years ago through a women's networking group. This is when she used to live in Canada. Half of her time now is in Costa Rica. So when you see her, and you probably will hear birds, and you will feel the sun burning through the screen. For us Canadians, we might be a little bit jealous, I'm just gonna say. But you know, when I was asking in meditation, you know, please find me the right person to help me with this book. And I kind of just let it go out to the universe. And one day I saw a post on Facebook and your name popped up, and then we connected, and I knew instantly that Dawn was the right person to help me hold my hand and really coach me from literally the idea all the way into where we are today. So I just, again, want to just say thank you so much, Dawn James. You are such a beautiful gift. And if there's anybody out here that's watching that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about writing a book and I have no idea where to start, Dawn, I know, will get on the phone with you even for a free consult and gift you with what she does. And I highly recommend you check her out. So thank you so much, Dawn, for being here. I love you so much.
Nicole, I love you too. And oh gosh, I'm getting goosebumps all over. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. Hi, everyone. It's Dawn James. I am a teacher at heart. No matter what I am doing, I am a teacher at heart. And this project was very, very special for me. because in 2009, there wasn't a lot of space out there to teach authors how to self-publish. And I stepped into this arena. I've worked in publishing twice in my career, newspapers, magazines, ebooks. And I said, you know what? I want to teach authors how to do it properly, how to do it professionally, how to have your book be a treasure to hold and a legacy. And I'm so, so grateful that we connected, Nicole. I do have to share a personal thing. So Nicole reached out to me, and one of the first things that she said to me, I am not a writer. And she says, but I have to share this story. And we got on the phone and we had many teas, many talks, many, many ideas. What makes this so special for me is I feel we were in it from the very beginning, right from the concept. We spent oodles of time talking about the outline, what to include, what not to include. We worked together in partnership, and that's what my company is all about. Publish and Promote is about relationships and making sure that you are proud of what we create together. The other thing I felt was so, so, so beautiful about Nicole's story is she was authentic, she was real, she was raw. This book is going to move you. And, you know, we need that. We need that voice to say to us, hey, there's a better way. We can get healthier and make the right choice for you, make the right choice for your family. You know, if you are not here to take care of yourself, how can you take care of others? I do want to acknowledge, as Nicole had pointed out, I want to acknowledge I cannot do what I do without the amazing, amazing team that have worked with me for years and years. Andrea was the lady who's edited my books. And I knew when Nicole presented her story, I said, I got to reach out because Andrea is the best of the best. And we were so lucky that she had time for this project. So I'm really grateful for Andrea Lemieux for editing. We actually had a proofreader as well. All of the projects I do, we have proofreaders. I want to acknowledge Brenda LaGraff, who did proofreading for us. Franny Armstrong, my BFF, who is a phenomenal designer and also is very intuitive. She's worked with me for a number of years. It takes a team. It takes a beautiful team to support authors. And I'm really, really blessed that I have amazing talent around me and people who work with me. And we're just so glad to be part of birthing this book. As Nicole mentioned, it can be very daunting. There are over 48 major steps to publishing a book. This is before you even get to marketing. And so what I love doing is teaching you every step of the way what we need to do, why we're doing it, how we're going to do it. So there's no mystery involved. And at the end of the day, I want people to feel proud of what they've created. When you become an author, you are immortal. And it's so important to take the time. There's no rush. Take the time, develop your craft, ensure it meets all the standards, and then launch it eloquently like Nicole is doing right now. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of that first conversation to where we are today. I'm just so proud of you, Nicole, for being fearless, being brave, not just with your story, but becoming a published author and inspiring so many other people now to step up and share their story and share their voice and be heard. So I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for this opportunity. And I just can't wait to see you on the stages of the world, inspiring other women to make their health a priority. So thank you for having me be part of this journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dawn. I, again, so appreciate you. I remember in the beginning, one of her advice was, don't read any of the other books, right? So, you know how I said that we like to compare? And so what is the first thing that I did? I went online to see, oh, how many other gray hair, you know, silver hair, you know, books are there? And I was like, okay, there's about 5 or 6 on Amazon, and this one's about beauty. And I'm like, well, I can't even tell you how to put makeup on. So that's not going to be me. And then there was another one where there was a journalist. I was like, oh, great. I'm competing with the journalist that wrote a book, right? The negative self-talk. I came back and she said, do not order those books. Do not read them. You have to bring your own story to the table. Then she gave me the analogy of a beach, an ocean. Do you remember that? So think of an ocean and you're on the beach. And this is what really helped me get through all of the self-talk and self-doubt in the beginning. And she said, imagine, millions of pebbles. And there's, one pebble here, and then you walk down the beach and there's another pebble. And she gave me the analogy is kind of like your book, is that your book is like one of those pebbles, and it's still going to hit and bump a bunch of rocks on the beach. And so a book will only get to a certain amount of people. So I just love that, because I was like, okay, so I'm just a pebble on the beach, but I am going to be able to rub against a few of those and make a difference. So that really helped me get through that self-doubt in the beginning. And she knows that. I remember when I submitted my first, writing.
Yes.
It was, so I sent it to her, and then the editor got back only 8 pages, and I went, oh my gosh, do I ever have so much to learn and to grow. And she said, I'm going to warn you, you're going to probably feel a little beat up, and you might tail between the legs, like, oh my gosh, like, what am I even doing? And I did feel like that at first. And then I got, nope, I can do this. And just those 8 pages of editing and showing how to write tight, that's how they call it, right? Writing tight.
Writing
getting
tight,
all the
yes.
wordy stuff
Yeah.
out. Because I can be a real wordy person. If you don't know who I am, it's like, get to the point, Nicole. And so in my writing, I had to learn how to be tighter in my writing. And I took that, and I remember taking that that first chapter and realizing I actually had 3 chapters in one.
Mhm.
And then I got excited because I'm like, oh, okay, now I'm understanding more of the clarity. So again, I just want to thank you so much, Dawn. It was such an amazing experience. She's helped me.
It was a journey. I forgot to mention, there's one thing that you and I talking about today, the book title. I got to share the story.
Yeah.
So, the analogy is having a baby. When you're having a baby and you're waiting and waiting and 9 months, and you start thinking of names. What are we going to call this baby? Oh, what's the first name going to be? What's the middle name going to be? Who are we going to name this book after, the baby after? Well, let me tell you, I think we spent 2 months on book titles. And the beautiful thing is we went out to the community. We went out to some of the people on this call, and we said, here are 5 ideas. What do you think? And we were ranking and prioritizing. Then we went out to a second pool, and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth it went until we found the perfect title, which I do believe is the perfect title. But that's just to tell you, just a book title, there was a lot of time, energy, care, and love, and community support just went into the book title. So I just want to say it does take a community to birth a book. And we had a wonderful group of women being part of that part of the journey. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I think that was the hardest thing in my book. If you were to ask me what was the hardest thing, is actually coming up with the right title. I think we probably changed it over 100 times.
Yeah,
It'd
maybe
be on a
101.
weekend, and I would send out something else just randomly, and she'd go, sleep on it for a night.
Well, what happened was, as soon as we got to the design stage, I said, Nicole, this is the title. Please confirm. We are designing the book now. So that was it.
I know, I just had to let it go and trust, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Again, thanks, Dawn, for being here. So appreciate you. So we're going to move on to our next guest. Our next guest is Janine Glover from Tennessee. She was a woman that I found on social media. We seem to have started our gray hair, silver hair journey about the same time. And I just loved her vulnerability. I loved her bravery. There was a point in my journey where it's like, maybe I should shave my head like Janine. And I was like, I totally chickened out. I chickened out. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm not brave like her. And if you want to follow her on social media, I'm sure she's going to tell you how. She's got over 18,000 Instagram followers. She's quite well known in our gorgeous Silverhood community. She was actually featured in Oprah's magazine as being featured as one of the top 30 gorgeous, sexy silver hair foxes. And so anyway, she's in the book, and I just want her to be here to share a little bit about, like, holy cow, you shaved your head, why? And talk a little bit about that experience. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Nicole, for having me. Yeah, I think weirdly, I probably had a bucket list thing years ago about shaving my head just randomly, like thinking, oh, that would be really freeing, but of course never imagined I would ever do it. And I had, like you, had very long dark hair, probably the longest I'd had since high school, and I had to dye it every 2 weeks. Was so sick of doing that, and my head would itch, my head would burn, and then honestly I would dye it, and a week later I feel like it would now I know why, it would pop up all the little silvers, and I'm going, why am I even doing this? And I, like you, had followed some people also, and of course I think it was kind of a new thing at that point on Instagram where women were posting more. And my niece actually was diagnosed with cancer, and she was 15. And I thought, you know what, I'd love to shave my head for her in honor of her, because I knew she was going to have to do that and she was going to lose her hair. And so we got back from a Christmas vacation, and I just kind of said to my husband, let's go, because if I don't go, I'm not going to do it. So I decided to shave my head, and it was very freeing. And I was also pleasantly surprised to see the color of my hair, because in all honesty, you don't really know what it will look like. You know, it could have been, I knew it was very bright, it was very white in the front, and but I didn't know if it would be like that all the way around. And so at that point I had let my roots grow out about 5 weeks. So I was wearing hats and doing that color spray and all of that. And so yeah, I shaved it and decided I'm going to just grow it out from here. And so many people were like, I love it shaved, keep it shaved. And I kind of look back and go, I should have kept it shaved for a little while. That was really fun, and it was so easy. But I decided to just go on Instagram and share, you know, the grow out process. And so I'm almost 16 months grown out, and the longer it gets, I actually like it more. But I think it just feels a little bit more like me, because I normally have more hair, and it's just fun to do more with it. But it's so nice to not have roots. And and then when all this happened, I'm like, okay, we all picked the right time to not be dyeing our hair or not have to worry about it. So it's been really, it's been a fun journey and really freeing. And it's not to say it's all been easy, because, you know, we certainly all have our insecurities, or we have that culture's voice in our head telling us we're going to be old. But I'll be 45 next month. And I actually, when I look back at the pictures of it dark, I'm like, no, that wasn't good. It was too dark. It was really, I think, in a way, aging me the color that it was, the color that I was dyeing it. So, you know, Mother Nature knows, I guess. So yeah, so here I am.
Awesome. So good. I love your comment about who would have thought that, you know, letting ourselves go natural, and then to get into this place of self-isolation where 75% of the women are freaking out. So
Yeah.
Their dilemma is, do I go to the store and buy, you know, a box of dye, or
Right.
do I just let it grow out? And I know that there's a lot of women that will probably hear our message. They're sitting on the fence and they're not sure which way to go. The fear kicks in. Their husband might make a comment, oh my gosh, don't do it, you're gonna look so old. And then they get sold on the comment of the husband or the partner or the friend, and they buy into their story. What
Right.
advice can you give women who are sitting on the fence right now that are like, I'm not sure? How do you get past that fear, Janine?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like, I tell most people, I'm like, it's hair. Like, in all, especially now with everything we've dealt with and people losing their lives and all this sickness, I'm like, when you really look at it, you know, you start to go, okay, it's hair, it grows, And like for me, I was like, I've done so many things to my hair. So I'm like, what's shaving it? It'll grow. My hair grows fast. And, you know, I know a lot of people are like, what? No, I could never do that. Now, I was blessed to have, my husband was very supportive. My kids were like, whatever, do it. You know, it's super trendy right now. You know, silver hair is in, that whole thing, which we were lucky for that too. But, you know, I think you have to get to a place of being authentic and saying, you know what am I really, what am I doing? What am I trying to represent? Who am I trying to represent? And it should be you and your authenticity and who you are. And, the reality is it is just hair. And even like people said to me, well, obviously if you hate it, you can dye it. And I'm like, right. So there's that. Like, I feel like there's hope for people to go, you know what, let's say you shave it, or let's say you decide to let it grow out and you are miserable, you hate it. Okay. So then you change it. You know what I mean? Like, why not at least try? Why not see? And like, I will be honest, for me, I was actually pleasantly surprised at the color that my hair ended up being, because I really had no idea what it would look like. So it's like, it's like anything, you know, you uncover something and it's like this fun surprise. And so when they shaved my head, it was like, oh, it's actually a cooler color than I thought. But had I never done it, I would have never known. So sometimes it's just taking the jump, taking the risk and going for it.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And
You're
I
welcome.
think that's the truth, is you don't know what your color looks like, right?
Right.
And it's kind of like, there's not too many things that as we get older that we look forward to as surprises. And let me tell you, the gray is a surprise. Like, if you guys can see my hair, I'm multicolor. I've got like dark at the back and I'm blonde up here. And it's just unique. You get to be unique. Like, that's one thing, being part of so many of the silver groups and having my own Gorgeous Gray Movement Facebook page to support these women. What I love most about the pictures that I get to see before and after, they're all different. They're all different. They're all unique. So when you do decide to let yourself go, you will be definitely unique. I'm sure that for you, like myself, I get more compliments than I ever had with my long dark hair. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I wish I could do that. How brave are you? And you know what? I just find when I go out to the world now, I have so many amazing conversations with strangers.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to the hair. Do you find the same thing?
Yes. Oh, I was working in a women's store, and I, like, every day somebody would say something to me, and it was hilarious because I'd have people say, do you dye your hair that color? And I'm thinking, no. Well, part of me was like, why would I do that? Of course, it was so trendy. So they're like, do you know 18-year-old girls are dyeing their hair your color? I'm like, oh, okay. I said, no, I'm not dyeing it. This is me. And yeah, I have never had so many people say stuff about my hair. But the funny thing is, this is the big thing I think we have to remember too, is that my immediate family was great, supportive, whatever you're doing. But my extended family, I knew was not going to probably feel that way. Like my father, who was very old school, like, it's hilarious, but I kept, like, he would say things like, well, you have the face for it. And I'd go like, is that a compliment? I don't, like, he really tried to give, especially when I cut it, because he hates short hair. So I think he had this mentality like, oh, if you go gray, you're letting yourself go. Like, you're just doing nothing to yourself now. And I'm like, it's not like I'm not going to still wear makeup and fix myself up. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
But it is an older mentality that if you go gray, you now are doing nothing to yourself. You're not, you're frumpy, whatever. It's just that old mentality. And so it's been fun to see my parents be like, like, I think they're just surprised I have as many followers as I do on Instagram. They're like, wow, I'm like, yeah, it's actually not as bad as you thought it was going to be, so it's pretty fun to see people's reaction and I think changing people's opinions about it, which is amazing, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being that
Thank you.
brave, woman that decided to just say, let's try it on. And it's women like yourself that inspired me. And,
Thank you.
I believe we all need mentors. So if you are kind of sitting on the fence or know somebody that's sitting on the fence, tap them into one of the amazing groups that are on. You can just search in the button, and there are so many beautiful groups that you can be part of. I probably am part of about 10 different groups. It's not just my group that I participate in. I still like to see, other groups, pictures and comment and all of that great stuff.
Yeah.
And I know Susan Esco is on here right now. And Susan, do you want to type into everybody what your hashtag is in the world? I just actually interviewed her, and she's another one of our Silver Sisters. And I know Susan and Janine, you guys know each other. And I love the fact that Susan actually, yeah, there we go. Susan is now a gray silver hair model with a new career because of her hair. Like, hello, how cool is that? Dye free to be me. And you can follow her as well. And what is your hashtag on Insta? Is it just your name, Jeff? Janine?
Oh, mine, yeah, it's Janine Marie Silvery. It was funny because I started doing the poetry, so it's Janine Marie Poetry, and switched to Silvery, so it worked out great.
Awesome. And this is so cool, this whole like community of women, because we all have experienced probably very similar feelings. So I feel like I've got this whole new family that I'm part of, which is really neat. So again, thank you for joining us from Tennessee.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's nice weather there, so enjoy, my friend.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so my next guest, very special friend and mentor to me, Dr. Mitra Ray. I'm just going to check and make sure she's still on the panel here. This is a woman that never stops. Mitra and I met, gosh, 15 years ago. She was part of the Juice Plus community. She had been part of the Juice Plus community for about 10 years. I remember meeting her for the first time at a Banff, I'm going to say weekend regional. It was my first time away from my 2-year-old and 3-year-old, and I honestly was only there to party. I had no interest in learning about a business. I just wanted to get away from my kiddos. But I met Mitra, and not only can she teach hard, but she can play hard. And I was like, I like everything that she stands for. In front of the room, she was a health professional, PhD from Stanford, you know, researcher, and I love that. I love that she had just dedicated her life to helping people. It started in the, you know, the lab for 10 years, and then she found out about our Juice Plus plant concentrates, and then turned her whole life upside down and created this movement around the world. And Dr. Mitra is one of our top leaders in the world. We just came off of our first ever online Juice Plus conference. So we have been playing hard from morning to night, supporting our team, happy hour parties, dress up parties. And she's like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to jump on here, Nicole, because we've been like back to back. But of course, Mitra never lets me down. She figures it out. She tweaks her schedule, and she says, I'll be there for you. And that's the type of family and community that I'm connected with, is they have your back and they show up when you need them the most. So I want to say thank you so much, Mitra, for jumping on. And really, you know, Mitra, I didn't even know this about Mitra, but when I started to tell her that I was going to be writing this book, she started to tell me a story about how she got hammered with poor health because she got exposed to PPD. And PPD is actually one of the most common chemicals in hair dye today. It's actually what helps the color stick to the actual hair. And I had no idea. And the first thing I said is, I have to have your story in my book, especially when you dive in and realize that 1 out of 100 people typically have an allergic reaction to this PPD. So she's going to talk about 2 things today. She's going to talk a little bit about her journey of PPD, how she helped heal her body, but how much damage it had. And then, you know, Mitra's not ready to go gray. And I'm loving that she's on here, because this is such a sensitive topic to a lot of women where we don't want to talk about it. And I want to talk about it because, listen, guys, I wasn't ready until 2 years ago. Okay. And that's why in my book, in chapter 7, I have women in there that are anywhere between age 40 and age 80. I love everyone and I meet them where they're at. So Mitra is going to talk about a healthy solution that she found to take care of her hair and her few grays that she does have that are annoying, but she knows she's doing it for her health because she is a healthy life expert. And so she walks the talk, and you guys can learn, if you're not ready, one safe way to do your hair through henna. So Mitra, take it away. I love you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Nicole. First of all, I'm so proud of you. I mean, I remember first meeting you, and you're such a different person today. Obviously, you know, this business transformed you. And then I think writing this book and the revelations you've had about yourself, I've just enjoyed this process of watching you. I love women, you know, just really owning their life and owning their power and owning their beauty, owning their goddess beauty, and understanding like how you look like it. I mean, I am going to be, I'm trying to count, 56 this year, and I don't feel 56. I still practice handstands, you know, and I think I always will. I hang upside down. I have like a yoga swing, and I hang upside down from it because it makes me feel young and playful. And at the same time, I also want to embrace the wisdom of the years I have spent on this planet, and watching you, Nicole, really embrace that tricky territory that as we come into becoming the elders, if you will, in society, and really embracing and owning, it's not just about the color of your hair, it's about how you approach your life and what you choose, and owning your choices and standing up for your choices. There's something much bigger at play here with your book and your movement, the Gorgeous Gray movement, that I'm just, you know, I'm very proud of you. I have not been hennaing my hair since quarantine, and we started early because we were ground zero in Seattle. So I've been at home all of March and all of April now, and I can henna my hair. I always henna my hair. I live somewhere where I don't have an organic salon where they're gonna, you know, do henna. I tried to teach it to my my hairdresser, but I have to go to her, and I have had now 3, I don't know why, it's like the universe delivering me a message over and over again, 3 episodes of PPD. The first was just as the simple story I've contributed to your book. I was living in London, and I just needed a haircut, and I was walking by this salon next to the grocery store, and I walked everywhere in London or rode our bikes, and so I just walked in, and I just said, "Hey, can you cut my hair?" And she said, "Oh, you've got a lot of gray in the back." And she goes, "That's kind of unusual to have gray hair in the back." And I was like, "Yeah, because I pluck out all my grays that I see in front. That's why you see them in the back. I can't see it. So it doesn't exist in my world, you know." And then but the way she told me, really, every once in a while I get knocked off my, you know, like who I am. I have lived quite the life, and today I feel like I walk pretty confidently, but it was at a time where I was feeling rather weak on many levels. My mother was very sick. My father had just died. I had 2 young toddlers to raise in England. I was trying to live there. So I let her kind of get to me about my grays. I mean, I didn't think that much of them. You know, I'd see them and I'd pluck them out and I'd be like, yeah, whatever. But I didn't think much about it. And I didn't want to get into hair dyes. I remember in college, like doing little fun blue streaks and things like that. But I just, overall, in general, I try not to expose myself to chemicals. And then she said, because the way she talked about, like, she kind of gave me this look, like, it's unacceptable, the grays in the back of your hair. And she offered me the option to just color my hair right there and then. And I fell for it. And I just said, sure. She gave me a deal. And I was like, okay, well, I don't actually have an appointment this afternoon. I guess I could sit here for an extra hour. So I did that, and I went home, and then by the afternoon, my scalp was itching. And so I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of didn't want to put those chemicals in my hair. I think I'll wash my hair one more time and really get those chemicals out. By the next morning, I looked in the mirror, and I had puffed up like a balloon. And Nicole, this process just got worse and worse and worse, kind of like if you didn't, you know, they wanted me to take pictures and sue the salon for not doing a patch test. And I was like, nobody's taking a picture of me in this state. I have no pictures of me in this state. I should have, you know, because there were lawyers saying you should sue them. And I'm like, I don't want to go down that avenue. But I frightened my kids, and it got worse and worse and worse. A week into it, I looked like Elephant Man, like And my forehead had literally blown up like this. My cheeks were like this. I was practically blind. My eyes were so swollen. And then the skin started to like burn, you know, and it was just a chemical. It was like an immune system gone berserk, because PPD is a molecule, I learned, that we all have pores, of course, in our scalp. And depending on how large that pore size is, PPD is a molecule that will either get in or get out. And this can change over your lifetime. And the PPD in my brain, in my scalp or in my skin, my pores are a little bit bigger. And so PPD gets in and the immune system goes berserk about it. It is such an antigen for the immune system. It's ridiculous. And the immune system just locally goes up. It's like starts out all out warfare trying to get that PPD out. And because I lived such a healthy lifestyle, I thought, oh, you know, every day I was like, oh, tomorrow I'll wake up, it'll be better. Oh, tomorrow I'll wake up, I'll be better. And Nicole, that didn't happen. It just got worse and worse. It lasted over a month where I looked like Elephant Man. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do any events. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't speak to anybody. I was depressed. And then this happened right before we moved back home. When my skin finally shrunk back, I looked like I was 90 years old. And I'm in the health field. And I could not be seen. Nobody even knew this had happened to me because I just hid from the world. And I learned all about it. I was like, well, that's it for me. I guess I'll just go gray. And I want to show you, even today, I haven't been, I don't have that many grays. I just don't have enough gray to go gray. You know, that's just like, not really an option for me. I have very thin hair. So I discovered henna. And I don't want to tell you about the other 2 times that it happened, but they were all accidents I didn't know about. I didn't know what was happening. There are so many things that even say henna. I will say this. The 3rd time it happened, it was in India, and I figured, well, henna in India is fine, right? Well, the henna products today in India have PPD in them unless you're really careful. So when I say henna, I mean one plant only. The ingredient has 1 plant in it, and it's just only that 1 ingredient that you want. You actually want 2 ingredients, and I describe it in your book. You want the henna and you want the indigo, because it's a 2-step process. But I started doing it back when I was in my early 40s, and it was one of the benefits I got from henna is it made my hair thicker. It made it like healthier looking and thicker. And so I think I was more sold on the natural way to kind of condition and volumize my hair, even more than the hair color. And then I learned I played with it a lot. I bought a lot of henna products, and I want to tell you, buying pre-made henna products, I don't care what the advertisement says, it just doesn't work. It's a 2-step process. The henna, you have to give it 10 to 12 hours for it starts out brown, and it starts to look slightly green after 10, 12 hours, but not more than that, because then it becomes inactive. So you have a short window of time. So that what I've learned is I can make a large batch and put it into small jars and freeze them, so that if today I decide to henna my hair, I can just pull out a jar and thaw it instead of waiting till tomorrow. And then the second part is indigo, and that takes 45 minutes to get to the right space. And what I've learned is you have got to have really clean hair. I really recommend washing it with 10% vinegar. So 1 part vinegar to 9 parts of water. You wash your hair, and I use also natural shampoos now. I've become very, very alert about my hair and my scalp. My hair falls out very easily if I use most commercial shampoos. I use stuff that literally is like mud. It's just like a bunch of earth chemicals. It doesn't lather. It's a company called Moroccan Method, and you buy 5 different shampoos. They're the 5 elements. The shampoos are literally fire, water, air, ether, earth, and missing one. Anyway, but they're just earthy things. And then I wash it with 10% vinegar. And then I put the henna in, and you let the henna sit. And I have learned that now you can add the indigo after you put the henna in first. You don't combine the 2. So that doesn't work as well. You put the henna in, and the henna makes your hair kind of this like fiery red, kind of orange. It's not that attractive, but that's why you need the indigo to come in and turn it to black or brown, depending on how much indigo you use. And that seals in the color. Henna by itself will come off on your towels and your pillow sheets. So another reason to use the indigo to seal it in so it doesn't leach out. And it sounds very complicated, but I've gotten it down where I just wash my hair, I put the henna in, and then I put the indigo in right on top of it. You wear a shower cap, and if you have a way to heat it, like I have a infrared sauna, I sit in there for 45 minutes or 30 minutes, and then it's done. If you don't have a source of heat, then and you could go to a hairdresser and sit one of those hot things, then you have to sit with it for 2 hours if you don't have a source of heat. But if I sit in my sauna for 30 minutes, that works. And then I just wash it out. And I will tell you, my hair feels and then you have to condition it. You have to get a really good conditioner because it can get frizzy, but it does add volume to your hair. And I know I'm going to play with another, plant from India called alma, which is supposed to be a natural conditioner, but I haven't played with that yet. So anyway, that's the story of henna. A lot of information, I know, but I get geeky about whatever topic I get into.
Awesome. Yeah, you can tell she's a PhD, right? There she goes. But that's great, because I'm sure that there's people on here that are considering, a healthy alternative, and that henna could be it. What's really neat is when I started writing the book and I researched henna salons in Canada, there was one. And guess what? It was 30 minutes away from me. So I actually went down, I interviewed her. I got her interview on my Own Your Sparkle page on Facebook. She's actually in my book because I interviewed her, which is cool. So for those of you that don't want to do that process, it's really easy. She actually just gets her clients to come in, she puts it on, and she lets you go home and let it sit so you can continue to do the rest of your day. Because as Mitra says, it needs to stay on for a while, right? Do you dry your hair before you put on the henna?
No, it has to be wet. Yeah, as I said, you want to shampoo. The 10% vinegar allows the henna to kind of seal in a little bit better. And then you put a shower cap on it and squeeze all the air out, and you have to just let it sit for a while. But you want to put the indigo on to seal it too. Yeah.
Awesome. Some great information. So either you can consider doing it yourself. And in my book, I say it is it is the cleanest chemical-free way that you could continue to dye. You can start to go to organic hair salons. They're popping up everywhere. They're starting to use products, and there's a common theme. There seems to be a couple key companies out there in the world. There's one out of Australia, Ohm. It's in my book. I actually interviewed the president and used to be a hairdresser and started to have reactions similar to you, Mitra, but did not want to get out of the industry. So has created the first line in the world without PPD. So a lot of these organic hair salons are using this particular product, Ohm. And then there's also another company out of the UK that has, I'm going to say they take the top 10 or top 20 nasties out of hair dye. So there are options for women and men if you're not ready to go gray. That's cool. Just consider to put the least amount of chemicals on your head when you are getting the treatment, because we don't want you to go down that path of toxicity.
And one more comment before I go here is that you want to, even with all these other ones, because I have tried other alternatives and I'm allergic to all of them. So each of us is individual in our pore sizes. So you really want to do a patch test. I cannot stress enough the importance of a patch test to see, if a hair, I will not put even now, even shampoo without doing a patch test on my ankle first, because I just know some people are really, really sensitive, and I'm one of those people. And I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I went through 3 times in my life. So yeah, thanks for having me on. It was just so proud of you. It's a great event.
Thank you, Mitra. Thanks for being here. So appreciate you. Yeah, and what I did find when I was researching this book is people have actually died from PPD poisoning. And it's really sad. So I do document some of that. There was one article where a young girl actually went blind from PPD because it ran into her eyes, the actual hair dye, and it made her blind. So there are lots of cases that are out there and available. And what's so crazy about it that really kind of made me mad as a mama bear, you get a mama bear mad, we'll keep on digging and digging until we find the truth. And what makes me so upset is when you go onto these government funded sites that in the eyes of the regular consumer that you trust, they're like, hair dye is safe for pregnant women. And so I keep on going and I'm like, all these sites all say that if you're pregnant, go for it. Go for it. Doctors, go for it. Research shows it's safe. I'm like, really? But if you look at the other side, I would say not. So again, you have to sometimes follow the money trail of who's saying it is safe. And in my book, I'm like, I lay out enough evidence to hopefully make it a clear decision for you to decide whether to, you know, put it on your head or not, especially if you are pregnant. So, okay, here we go. So we're on track again. Thank you, Mitra, for tuning in from Seattle. I know it's been a wicked month, wicked week, and I just so appreciate you. Okay, so our next speaker is a friend of mine and colleague and a mentor, somebody that I have leaned into when my health has gone a little off track. Her name is Jen Pike. She lives in Keswick. What I admire most about Jen Pike is she has been in this industry, I like to say, since she was little. I think you kind of came out and said, this is what I'm going to do. So she's been involved in fitness, and she was in her teens, and being the weird one, going, you know, to high school with that, like, you know, geek lunch that you know is healthy and gets probably ridiculed, but she just knew in her being that this is where she was going to go. So you will recognize Jen Pike on social media. Her brand is the Hormone Project, Simplicity Project, and she truly is a hormone women's expert. And I can't tell you how many people I have sent to her website, jenpike.com. What I love about her is all of the free information that is available just through her podcast. So for so many women that are like, oh my gosh, Nicole, I have this or I have that or I'm not sure, I'm like, just start at jenpike.com and start listening to some of her podcasts. I know for me, when I was going through some stuff with my daughter, I was like, first thing that comes into mind, Jen Pike, I'm sure she's got a podcast on that. And she does. So I'm just so grateful that not only do I get to work with Jen Pike in the Juice Plus business, but also just, you know, through our community is she just does some amazing things. She's an amazing presenter. We've had her tour Canada. She was just out in Alberta with full room full of just people eager to learn from this brilliant woman. So Jen Pike is going to talk today. She's featured in my book, and you know, one of my topics, chapters in my book is just about how to have healthy hair at any age. As I researched, you know, we go through different stages with our hair, right? Sometimes we can lose our hair. And I remember, I think around my pregnancy, my hair was not so good. Right after pregnancy, I was losing like handfuls of hair, and almost thinking, what is the first thing? I've got cancer, I'm dying, right? That's where our brain goes. And no, it was just me deficient in certain nutrients that I had lost through pregnancy. But I'm not going to go into that because that's what Jen Pike is here for. She's going to dive a little bit about just, and she's got gorgeous hair. Oh my gosh, gorgeous, healthy hair that shines. She's going to share a little bit about what can you do to have healthy hair? Because I think it's a barometer of what's happening inside. Wouldn't you agree, Jen? Welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Nicole. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm so excited for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I would agree. I often talk about, you know, in any of my workshops and seminars and books and things like that, that our digestive system is really that base and foundation of our health. But the things we see on the outside in terms of what's growing as a result of that, our skin, our nails, our hair, really are, I mean, this is a result of what is happening on the inside of our body and our system. So I'm going to share a couple of tips and suggestions for those of you ladies that are listening. Nicole had asked me to talk about how we can really nourish our hair and the things we need to consider to keep it healthy throughout those phases and stages of life. So I am an educator in terms of women's health and hormones, and there are definitely different hormonal phases and changes that happen in our body that will impact the health of our hair, its thickness, its growth, whether or not we're losing it, where it's growing, whether it's growing from our head or other places on our body as well too. And so what I want to talk to you about is I've laid out 3 main tips I'm going to focus on, and then I'll do a little bit of a kind of a shallow dive into hormones, not a deep dive because of the time that we have. But the first thing that I would really, truly recommend is to think about how much you are hydrating your system. So when we're talking about things like moisture and we're talking about having, shiny hair, and those things, you really have to start by looking at how much hydration are you putting into your system. I've got a glass here. This is 500 milliliters of filtered water. And I work with women who come into my practice who barely get this much in over the course of one day. And they have dry hair, brittle hair, it's breaking, it's falling out. I would really encourage you that you're getting at least 2 to 3 liters, or even in the upwards of a half or an ounce rather to a full ounce for every, let me say that again, an ounce for half your body weight or up to your full body weight. I focus on getting an ounce for every pound that I weigh into my body. And so the other thing that I'd recommend is that it's not just coming purely from your water. This is from your herbal teas. Teas that are very therapeutic on a hormone level and alkalizing to your body, which are going to help your hair, will be things like spearmint tea, lemon and ginger, fennel, green tea. Those are going to be really balancing and benefiting to your body. Your smoothies, your greens, getting all of the phytonutrients into your body, getting a lot of that plant-based nutrition, protein. Do you know that your hair is made up of 91% protein that is amino acids? So when we're looking at what we're putting into our body, making sure that we're getting that balance of enough protein, enough healthy fat, enough fiber into our system is really what we're going to see in that end result of our hair and of our skin and our nails, that growth that we are looking for. So you've got your smoothies, your fresh pressed beautiful green juices, your decaf organic herbal teas, and then your filtered water. And you can amplify your hydration with things that help to neutralize any type of, free radicals coming into your system. So this is where it's great to use things like our citrus, fresh lemon juice, lime, even fresh grapefruit or orange added into it just a little bit. And then herbs like mint and basil and parsley, very cooling, really wonderful for our body overall. So hydration would be the first tip. If you're noticing that not only your hair is dry, but your scalp is dry and your skin is dry, I want you to really look at how much fluid you're getting in over the course of the day and see if you can work first there on improving that. The next little tip that I'll give you that wraps into the hydration is what you're drinking out of. So I showed you I'm drinking out of glass. And the reason being is that I don't want to drink out of things that are plastic or made out of plastic byproducts, because those are chemical estrogen mimickers and endocrine disruptors. So they'll impact our hormones in our body, and they'll impact the feedback loop of how your entire body is being nourished and supported. So drinking lots of healthy water and out of glass is step number 1. The second thing is actually looking at what the food is that you're putting in your body. So here's what we all know. Right? Food, our nourishment, nutrition, this is raw material and information that we are actually providing to our body on a cellular level every single day. Your hair is made up of cells. So I was talking about the fact that it's made up of protein and amino acids, but this is the end result. What is coming through those pores and those follicles, and that's at the bulb. When you pull a strand of hair out, and you can actually see we call it the root, but it's the bulb. That bulb is holding all of this beautiful information that has been given from the rest of our body up through the pores and the sebaceous glands to then create the shaft, which is actually the long piece of your hair that you see. So if you find that your hair is getting dull and dry and frizzy and split ends, obviously you want to consider how much heat you're putting onto your hair, and we will talk about products in a moment, but really ask yourself, what am I putting inside of my body for the end result on the outside? If what you're putting into your body feels like it's, whole food based, rich in plant nutrients, rich in B vitamins, healthy fats, getting some good sources of collagen in there, you know, antioxidants, phytonutrients, that's wonderful. But if you're having a difficult time breaking those foods down, if you're suffering from a lot of gas and bloating and indigestion, where I'd want to direct you to help to make sure that you're getting actually what you're eating is to start to work on your gut and to help to manage those symptoms. Because if you can't break down the food that's coming into your body, it's going to be very challenging to actually pull the nutrients, the nutrition, the vitamins, the minerals, all the goodness that's locked up in there into those cells, for those cells to then be able to actually help you create the healthy hair that you are after. And as Nicole mentioned at the beginning, we go through these different phases in our body and different times. And this happens for men and women alike. But for us ladies, our systems are quite different because we don't run on a 24-hour cycle like men do. Our cycle in our menstrual and fertile years are anywhere from, say, 23 to 35 days. And for women that are in menopause or beyond, you're looking more to that 28, 29 day cycle of the moon. But every single lunar phase or phase of your menstrual cycle will change the communication on a hormonal level. And so in that being said, you will have different times of the month where maybe you notice you are losing more hair than you normally would. It's often a sign for women if they're losing clumps of hair. And just so you know, normal hair loss, and Nicole, you've been doing a lot of the hair research, definitely more lately than I have, but in the past when I've done the research on this, it's normal to lose about 100 strands a day, okay, over the course of brushing it, washing it, moving. Now, if you do not have a healthy body, digestive system, and nutrients that are coming in, and you're not replacing and replenishing and continuing that growth happening, but you have a drop in hormones, you have a drop in your nutrient intake, you are definitely going to see far more that is shedding as opposed to that growth that's happening. And ladies, you'll see when you start to eat really healthfully and you start to shift your products, you'll get like all these little baby hairs that start to like sprout out. And I remember when that happened to me, when, I mean, I've been living this lifestyle, as Nicole said, literally, I like walked out of the womb and was like, all right, when do I get started? But truthfully, since I was 15, I've been on this journey and I'm 40 now. And when I was pregnant with my first child 15 years ago, this is when it really struck me, the impact of what I was putting, you know, on me that was going in me. I hadn't truthfully thought about the products as much at that point as I did when all of a sudden I was creating life. And then it was, well, I definitely can't wear perfume. I then need to think about if they're going to be nuzzling up into me near my hair, or if everything I'm putting on me is going in my body and then helping their little body grow. It just opened up this whole different way of me looking at products. And when I started to change things over, I had my baby and everyone said to me, oh, those little hairs that you get, that's because you lose a lot of hair when you give birth, which you do. And I don't know if you know the reason why, but it's the massive drop in progesterone. When you actually deliver not only the baby, but the placenta, you lose about 50% of the progesterone you had during that pregnancy, which is it's like the progesterone rug got pulled out from underneath you. And one of those side effects or symptoms will be this huge amount of hair loss after you give birth. Then you see all the regrowth. Well, I had my kids and it was still years later and I was like, why is the regrowth, you know, happening? Why am I getting all these tiny new little hairs? And then I started to recognize, oh, I up-leveled my health in this area and I'm starting to see that change and shift. And so your nutrition will help you to understand what's happening with what's going on with your hair. Now, Mitra mentioned something I was able to catch in the last half of her chat that I'm a huge fan of. And this is actually, I'm a big believer in putting food on our hair as well too. So what we put into our body will result in the health of our hair, but also putting those things on. And she talked about doing a vinegar rinse, right? Actually using that. And so I do an apple cider vinegar rinse. I've talked about this in some of my different programs as a way to help to alkalize and neutralize the pH balance of the hair, but to calm down the scalp. So for a lot of women who have digestive issues and who don't have the healthiest hair that they're after, they also find they have a lot of dandruff, they have a lot of yeast, They get a lot of scalp irritation where they get little areas of redness. Yeah, Tracy's saying, I still get the baby hairs. You're also doing a lot of really good things for your health right now, if this is the same Tracy Lee that I'm thinking of. So I think that's where a lot of those good new hairs are coming. This is a good thing. It's growth. So don't be plucking them, ladies. Okay, because this is new, beautiful growth that's going to be happening. But that apple cider rinse, and you don't do this like every single time, okay? Especially if you have very dry hair, not every single time. But, you know, even once a week, it helps to calm and cool what's happening on that scalp level. And you will start to notice less and less irritation and candida, that dandruff, that extra flaking and stuff. That's a source of yeast and fungi that's in our body. And so really, you know, thinking about that. And that leads into the next thing, which is talking about our products, right? So the things you're putting on your hair. So if we're talking about how important it is in terms of a digestive purpose for us to eat the healthy food, get all the, you know, good plants in that we're chewing, you know, our Juice Plus that we're taking to just get more and more of that phytonutrition in our body. When you put products on your skin, in your hair, underarms, like deodorant, all of that, this doesn't go to your digestive system. It actually bypasses your gut completely in that process and gets absorbed directly into your skin, which is your largest organ. And this now, as soon as it's in the skin, it has like found the, you know, the 407, the express highway throughout your body, in your blood and your lymphatic system. And so I would argue that what we put on our skin is as important as what is on the end of our fork. 100%, I believe that. So looking and combing through the ingredients in your shampoo, your conditioner, your, you know, split end mender that you put onto your hair. If you've been using things like mousse and hairspray and, you know, frizz control, all of those things, adding layer on top of layer and layer onto that hair to really be mindful of what it is that you are using. Nicole's done a lot of the guesswork for you because she has all of these ingredients in her book. There's wonderful apps as well too, where you can go through the environmental working group and the Think Dirty app. And ladies, you literally just take your phone and scan the code, like that barcode on the product, and it will give you a database and it will rate it. And it won't just say to you, good or not good. It will actually educate you and explain why. What are some of the key ingredients? So now you start to create this toolbox inside that you're going to start to have this memory of when you see a certain ingredient and now you pick up another product, you don't need to scan it. You're going to scan it because you're going to remember it and be like, this is a no, this is what I want to shift away from. And when I work with women and I do a lot of work around their body care products, the average woman is using 12 to 20 different products minimum on a daily basis. And a lot of people will stand back and think like, no, that's not possible. So if you just think like, step into your shower for a moment, shampoo, conditioner, you know, body wash, body scrub, your soap, shaving cream, that like there's a minimum, that would be 6. And then you get out of the shower and think about the lotions and potions and serums you're putting on, the different products you're putting into your hair. It less is more when it comes to how we take care of our system. So I know Nicole has shared her story about, you know, finding lumps in her breast. And I will tell you, ladies, working in hormones, and I test hormones for a living. And I'm doing, you know, fecal matter testing now, like GI map testing and organic acid and that. What we see show up on a chemical level in women's bodies, there is direct correlation to the products that they are using and putting onto their skin and onto their hair and, you know, makeup, nail polish, all of those things that are directly impacting how they're feeling. And Nicole, I mean, you and I have had conversations outside of this, but I just applaud you so much because, I mean, I have a chapter about this. You've done an entire book about this. And we really, ladies, like we're the target audience. We are the avatar customer for every single one of these companies. And we are also the one that is going to be able to change the vote because we are the one buying the products. We are the one that are putting the power into the hands of either the grassroots company that is choosing integrity and quality and education for their consumer versus just trying to roll it into more money, right? And we are also the chief, I mean, I don't know everybody who's on here, but I'm going to speak from personal experience. I'm the one who does the shopping. I'm the one that's buying the products. I'm also the one that's teaching my daughter and my son and my husband, and even things we put on our dog. I don't put these things on my dog because I care about her. And so, you know, we have this opportunity as women to not only elevate what we understand for our own body, our own hair and skin, and on a hormone level, because this is impacting all of that, but we now get to also be the leader for our family and put them in contact with the products. And I just think this book it's going to revolutionize the things that people are now putting into their shopping carts, bringing into their homes and having for their family. And I think we're just starting to see the tipping point of health benefits for people. And it's going to take books like this and more conversations and events like this to get people to understand this is not about a vanity cause. This is your health. And unfortunately, we've been taught like it's just hair. Be creative with it, you know, have fun with it, do whatever. It'll grow back. But what we're putting inside of our body has a massive impact on that end result. So I think that's really important. So my main tips and reminders for you all today is please be hydrating your system inside and out. Make sure the quality of the water that you're using is really healthy and good for you. We use a Kangen water system in our home. There's other wonderful filtering systems as well. Putting proper filtering systems on the shower heads that you are bathing in. I live on a lake where there are tons of farms downstream where all that wash off comes into our water. So it means we have more iron, more phosphorus, more chemicals that are coming into our waterway. And they're very inexpensive, those filters. You can get them at your local health food store. You can purchase them online. And then your nutrition. I mean, oh gosh, right now with the amount of stress and things that are happening in our world, this is not the time to bury yourself in a bag of chips 7 days a week. Maybe once in a while, cry and eat chips at the same time and dip it in ice cream and have fun. Okay, do that. Like you can have your moment, but this is truly the time to honestly honor the gift that we have, to slow down and gain perspective. Everybody's life pace was just sliced at least in half right now because we're not going to so many places, and we have this opportunity to press pause and to tune in. If your body has not been feeling the best, if your, skin and hair and the external things have not been, growing at their best rate or showing their best selves, you have this open opportunity right now to start to move in the direction of improving what you're eating, of spending more time in the kitchen, of cooking fresh food instead of more processed packaged foods. We're not going out to the restaurants and eating right now. Like I know there's a lot of not so good happening right now, but there is also a really beautiful blessing inside of all of this. And if we can flip that switch and see all the opportunity for health, I think that's going to brighten a lot of our days and add levity to this. And then talking about your products. So this is a great time. It's the weekend right now. Do a little audit in your bathroom. Go in and start to read some of those labels. Get Nicole's book so you can look through a lot of those ingredients and then start to do a little discardment. What are you going to get rid of? What do you need to replace? And simplify. So I hope that helps to give you all a few more tips and some things to think about. And I just want to, again, congratulate you, Nicole. I just am so proud of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jen. That was such valuable information, and just, I think, coming at the right time for people to really focus in on their health. So appreciate you. I believe Nikki said there's a couple questions that have come in, so I'm just going to let her open it up so she can ask them too, dear.
Okay. Hi, amazing Jen.
Hey, Nikki.
So there are a couple questions. So the first question, are there vegan sources of collagen?
There is not, because collagen is actually from our human bodies and animal body. It is our most abundant protein that we produce. So there's not actually a plant-derived source of that. So I get asked this all the time because of powders and things like that. You're going to find marine-based or you're going to find bovine-based. So either fish or beef-based typically is where you're going to get it from for that. Okay. Now, I will say this as well too, then I'll give one little tip. If you are fully plant-based and vegan and not doing the collagen that way, that is fine. But you know what? Start to do some really mineral-rich broths for yourself. So maybe it's not a bone broth, but all the discarded veggie ends and roots of veggies and all those things, put them into a pot with some filtered water, very low heat. Don't boil it because you're going to take all the nutrients out. So very low heat or your slow cooker. Add some pure Himalayan sea salt in there. So we're going to get rich minerals, and that's going to help to support your body on that level as well too.
Awesome. So the next question was from Ilona. So her daughter has a dry scalp. She's going to try the apple cider vinegar cleanse, but she's wondering if there is a shampoo brand that you like and would recommend.
So yes, and I'll also give her an additional tip, and this is a great question. So doing the apple cider vinegar rinse is going to help, but what I would also do is nourish her scalp with natural oils. So you can, as basic and inexpensive as you want to get it, the same type of oils we would cook with, like organic olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, blended oils. You can actually, Ilona, take a little bit of that and massage it into her scalp. Now stay with me on this, because yes, the hair is going to look greasy when we do this. So you wouldn't do it every day, maybe every second or third day. You can also use some really beautiful skincare products, like Skin Essence is a company that I love. They're Canadian made. I know that I think Nicole has actually featured them in her book as well too. And I might not be correct on that, but using oils like that as a little tincture, massage it into her scalp, put her hair up into a bun, let her sleep on that. And then the next day you can use your organic shampoo. I love companies like Boo Bamboo. I like Giovanni. I like the John Masters organic line is good. Dr. Hoshka has some good lines as well too. But honestly, go into your health food store where you live, because if this is Ilona from Kelowna, then you can go into your local health food stores and scan the barcode to make sure. Because when we go into our organic sections, there are still some products that make their way in there that have some ingredients that might dry the scalp. And typically I find the drying is coming from the surfactants, the chemical surfactants and sodium lauryl based ingredients that are what create the foaming in the shampoo. It's a detergent. So that foaming that's making you believe, oh, look at all the lather, I'm getting so clean, is actually stripping the natural mucosa barrier and all that sebum that your scalp is working so hard to create. It is stripping it dry. So you want to move towards that, but do the little oil treatment. I'm telling you, I do this twice a week. I only wash my hair 1 to 2 times a week as well. Okay. And that's the other thing I would say. And people are always like, what did you just say? I wash my body more than that, but I only wash my hair 1 to 2 times a week. And this is how you can re-regulate your oil production. So I used to have quite an oily scalp growing up, oily skin. And then I started to only wash it 1 to 2 times a week, and it has completely re-regulated and calmed that all down. So do the oil, put it in a bun. If she's dancing around and doing stuff, that's even better, because the heat is going to create, like, remember the VO5 hot oil treatments? So not good. You can do your own natural one by just slather it up, put your hair in a bun, do a workout, go for a walk, let it heat up, and then wash it out like you normally would. And then you can do that apple cider rinse. Everyone
Awesome.
remembers the VO5.
Yeah, I know, right? Remember that. That was great information. Thank you so much, Jen. We so appreciate you. Nikki, did we catch all the questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. So moving right along, again, thank you, Jen Pike. You're just so amazing. Go to jenpike.com and start following her podcast if you really want to dive into better health and your hormones. Okay, the next introduction, of course, is my mama bear, Janice. I'm actually going to just read from my book about who I dedicated this book to. So this is what I say. I dedicate this book to all of the badass gray-haired women who have ever gone before me. Young or old, you made a choice to go against the norm, and I say, thank you, this is me. Because you were brave and bold, your actions contributed to a movement of gray is okay at any age. You inspired me to embrace my sparkle for the health of it and write this book. I am grateful for all the gray-haired heroes, especially my mama bear, Janice. So I got to witness my mom go gray at the early age of 50-ish. I remember being terrified, my sister and I going, oh my gosh, what is she doing? This is crazy. She's too young to go gray. So we gave her probably a very hard time. But anyways, I'm going to bring her on and she's going to share a little bit about her journey of what inspired her to go gray before it was cool and hype and there was internet to make it look oh so sexy. Mama Bear?
Oh, thank you, Nicole. What a pleasure to be on here. And thank you for your braveness and boldness and your journey. It inspires so many people. So I was 54 actually, because it was right after Josh got married, and he got married in 2008. And I didn't want to show up at the wedding looking gray and washed out, right? So even though I was going through the process of how I'm going to do this, I still didn't want to show up at the wedding gray. So anyway, but it actually started for me in 2005 when Jim and I lived in Fort McMurray. And I heard from Michelle Shapiro Cook, who wrote the book, the 30-day Ultimate Body Detox. So I knew I needed a detox. Jim and I used to ride motorbike, and so when I'd try and get my leg up over the bike, I just had a lot of pain. And I was also having breast problems with lumps. I was getting them drained, like they actually took a needle and drained it, and then it would be back the next month, not knowing anything about being estrogen dominant. And so when I did this detox in 2005, and it was thorough, and thank goodness I wasn't working because I don't think I could have done it. So did everything like the rebounding, you know, what I drank in the morning, nothing in between meals, mostly vegetarian, good quality products, a far infrared sauna we had. So I was very blessed to do that, and Jim followed along. And the neat thing he said to me was, you know, I used to sleep on the bus all the time. I can't fall asleep anymore, because we were actually giving ourselves real food. So that's kind of where my journey started. And of course, I'm so grateful that that transition happened, because that's when Justin got in his horrible accident, and I was able to take all this food up to the hospital. He had one nurse that was alternative. And he, you know, I asked him, do you have a problem with me bringing this soup? And it smelled like garlic walking through the hallways. People would look at me. But anyway, because Justin could only drink through a straw, so we had to give him lots of nutrition, and I'm grateful for that. So after that, we moved back to Medicine Hat, and I did start working in the health food store. And so that's when I changed to more natural henna products for my hair. And I'm not sure now about the ingredient list. I know it was more than 2. You know, Mitra talks about only 2 ingredients. For sure, it was more than that. So I did that for a while, and it just got more and more tiresome. It's like, why am I doing all this, right? And so, you know, you have those conversations with yourself, and, you know, working in a health food store, you also see all of the toxins and learn about them. And so all of that, you know, was making sense to me. The other thing that happened too, before I was going into menopause, I had a huge cyst in my womb, and it was the size of a grapefruit, and went to a doctor, and he gave me 5 choices. The first 4 were all really heavy drugs, and the 5th one was, or do nothing. And I'm like, I'll do nothing, thank you. I couldn't get out of there fast enough. And sure enough, it happened right at 50 that, you know, I was done menopause, and that tumor shrunk. So it was being fed by estrogen. And I hadn't learned enough yet to, you know, learn how, like what Jen teaches, right? How to get your hormones in order. So anyway, back to Medicine Hat. I worked at the health food store. Then I left there for a while, and fast forward to when, because I tried going gray a few times, and it was like, yeah, I just wished I could have been brave enough to shave my head, but it just looks so awful. Anyway, I after Josh's wedding, I said, that's it. And I did let it go gray. I didn't, you know, go to a hairdresser or anything like that, because I just was like, done, I'm done. And it was so freeing. And I really am grateful because my husband gave me all the support. Jim had a mutual friend in the biking community, and she had really long gray hair, and it was beautiful. And he said, I think women with gray hair are hot. So, you know, how can you argue with that? So kudos to him for supporting me, because, you know, there were times that it was like, ah. But one thing I did was keep my hair short, so that the transition probably happened over, you know, 9 months for sure. I don't know if it, because my hair grows fast and it's thick. So, you know, it was just so freeing. And I would hear things like, I remember Jacqueline Kennedy, she died of brain cancer, and she dyed her hair once a week. Who knows? Is that where it came from, right? So, you know, we all get our wake up calls for sure. And yeah, I'm just grateful, you know, that you started this movement and you have all these incredible people, and we have, you know, all these doctors to guide us, and specialists. And it was in 2005 in the fall that I got introduced to Juice Plus, which was a gift because, you know, most people can't sustain the amount of fruits and vegetables that they need to eat. I mean, it's just, and the quality is just not there. So, you know, I was grateful for this journey, and, you know, that you came on it too and have created just such a beautiful, inspiring team. And I just love you for that. I'm so grateful. So thank you for all these brilliant women who shared. It's just really been exciting, and my heart's just boom, boom, boom. So
Well,
thank you for asking me.
yes, and you were getting a little teary-eyed there, Mama Bear. I can see the emotion. It's yeah, it's, you've seen me on this journey. I remember when I came down to Ecuador back in February, I think I was on like chapter 2 or chapter 3, and I brought my laptop, and I was getting my mom to like read my book, and all she was doing was crying. She had her tissues, and you know, she's just like, keep going, girl. I'm so proud of you. And yeah, it takes a village for sure to raise yourself up, right? And I have such an amazing family and friends and community. I'm just so grateful for you. And you can see some purple in my mom's hair. The purple has been part of, I guess, my mom's style and fashion. It's a washout. And we love her when she comes down to our Juice Plus conference, because she's the one that always brings the oils and the extra pre-made bowls and food, and extra, you know, Juice Plus chewables. And so, oh, and a box of Kleenex, of course, especially when we have our new distributors show up and stories are on stage. So Mom is like the hub of where you go. You need oils, you're sick, have some oils. You're hungry, have some food.
One thing I just want to add to, kudos to your sister Tracy, because I remember her when you were talking about how much you were spending on your hair dyes, and she was like sending you all these pictures of these beautiful women with the, oh, Nicole, you look so good in that. So she really encouraged you too. So
Yeah.
you know, just blessed to have her as your sister and my
Yeah.
other beautiful daughter.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we were like, I think it was May long weekend in 2018. I'd actually taken my daughter Sydney, just the two of us, and we actually were in Banff National Park in a tent in -2 or -3 in May. So I remember us cozying up, but that next day by the fireplace, a seed was planted. You just never know when those seeds need to be planted. And she had seen she was pointing out my skunk line, and I said, darn it, I just got my hair dyed. Is it already that noticeable? Giggle, giggle, giggle. And she's like, yep, it sure is. You know how sisters can be so awesome and loving. And her husband, Cameron, had to make a comment on like, how much do I spend? kind of threw out a rough calculation, and he was like, oh my gosh, you like spend that much money? And I was like, yeah, like $150 every 3 weeks at the hair salon. And I was like, that's no big deal. It's just what you get used to. And he just about, of course, he's doing the calculation of what that is a year. And I'm sure in his mind, he's like, that's a holiday. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, what are you doing? And yeah, that afternoon, there's my sister starting to like, Nicole, I think you could really pull this off. Like, I think you could do this. So like I said, the seed was planted. That was in May. Remember, I didn't do it till October, but I do want to say thank you, sister, for planting the seed. And Cameron for pointing out how much money I was spending, and I could have put it to more stuff that brought me joy, right? So, okay, we're just about wrapping up here. I've got one other guest, and then we will close out. I know that there's quite a few of you that have to take off, and that's great. Thank you for coming. If you do want my book, you can just go to my website, nicolescott.ca. It's right on the front, and it's all directions of how to order. Just a quick note, if you are in Canada, lucky you, because I have a bunch of books here. And if you do place an order on the website for Canada, I will do a signed copy and get it to you in the next week. If you are in the US, you get to order it off of Amazon, okay? So thank you so much. I'm seeing a few of my friends having to log out. Okay, so last guest, her name is Zach Lit. I'm gonna say it, I've been practicing your last name. I just always call you Zach. You're Zach. I'm gonna call you Zach. And we met in the shoe section of Winners in Stouffville. Totally divinely guided. That morning I was looking for somebody to help us through the divorce that we were experiencing, and there was a lot of emotion and a lot of sadness, and I needed somebody. I didn't know who that would be. Just provide me with somebody to help guide us through this very rough time. And Zach told me that that morning she was going to go and shop for shoes for her trip to California, and we met. And the rest was history. We both knew that we were meant to meet each other. It was like one of the most goosebump moments if you've ever like met that person and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we met. I was looking for you. And she's like, I was looking for you. Not only was she a cancer survivor, but she's like, I hate fruits and vegetables, and here you have fruits and vegetables in a capsule. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you're like a spiritual mentor. And I was like, wow. So we had this beautiful journey together for a couple years. She really helped me get through a really difficult time in my life. I learned so much from her, so much about myself. And I really just wanted, Zach is featured in my last chapter, You Are Not Alone. And she also has her story in the back, along with a few of my other amazing spiritual mentors. And, you know, I wanted Zach to come on here to talk a little bit about, as women, sometimes we feel we need to stay in a box to make everybody else happy. And that was me. Just stay in the box and don't rock the boat. And I don't know if anybody can relate to that, right? Stay in the box and just stay in line. Don't get too out there. And Zach really helped me, heal some childhood trauma. We all have trauma, and I needed to do some healing, and then get to a place of just peace and knowing and more deeply connected to my spiritual belief. And she made such a huge, profound difference in my life and my kids. And I'm just so grateful that we met one day in the shoe section of Winners, because you have totally changed my life. And I know that I would not be here along with my other spiritual coaches and mentors and writing this book and getting this message out if I never did the work. So maybe Zach, you can jump on and tell and just give some advice and content to just what it means to do the work. Because sometimes people don't understand what that means. Do the work, heal yourself. What the heck does that even mean? Welcome, Zach.
Thank you, Nicole. Wow, this has been incredible. I'm just having a great time listening to Mitra. Like, I'm not even going to say everything. I'm so proud of how far you've come on this incredible journey and seeing where you were in that shoe department. And the funny thing was, I do love fruits and vegetables, but I have TMJ problems. So I can't eat fruits and vegetables. So Spirit told me that I need to have fruits and vegetables in a capsule form. And I laughed so hard. I was like, now, if y'all could find me that, this is a miracle. And so that's when I got sent to the shoe department at Winners, and the end of it is history. Here we are today. So it was beautiful. But let's talk a little bit about trauma. And this is what Nicole wanted to have me on here for, is healing through trauma. And I like to actually change that around. It's not really healing through trauma. We're really becoming empowered through trauma. When we look at our trauma, we have trauma throughout our whole life. I said this to my client the other day. We come into the world so whole and full of love, and then we're implanted all this trauma and belief and these patterns and these stories and this, you know, visualization of the way life should be like, the way your body should be like, the way your relationship should be like. Everything should be like whatever everyone's telling you out there, but not really who you are inside of you. And this causes so much trauma in our life because we're not hanging out with our truly authentic self. And this is something that once you start unraveling and start recognizing the truth of who you are through the trauma, and asking yourself those deeper questions as to, why do I allow myself to go down this path? Whatever path it may be. It could be staying in an unhealthy relationship. I mean, especially right now with quarantine going on, I could just imagine what's going on with families that are not getting along, with kids that are just, you know, it blows my mind, just the kids' situation, if they're abused or not. Adults could deal with everything, but it's the kids that can't. And think of it, the trauma that the adult is holding at that time, so the adult that's not in that healthy relationship, is putting that now trauma on the child. So this is how we gain trauma from such an early age. It doesn't matter if you're 6 months old, a year old, 3 years old, 5, 10, 20, 47 years old, and sometimes people still hold on to that trauma. And the more we release this trauma, the more that we recognize our self-worth, the more that we recognize how powerful we are, the more that we recognize that we haven't been really using our voice and speaking who we are, because we're afraid that we may hurt someone else's feelings, but we're okay to hurt ourselves by not fully expressing ourselves. So what we're doing now is causing this trauma in our throat. See, wherever we're holding ourselves back in our life, we're holding onto that energetic frequency in our body. And it's beautiful what Jen said about eating your foods, eating whole foods. You know, we're talking about mental health too, Juice Plus. It all comes in combination with connecting to your higher consciousness. If your digestive system is all bummed up and you're constipated and you're stagnant, there is no flow of energy happening. What does your mind say to you? I don't feel good. I'm bloated. I don't have energy. I'm irritated, right? There's a reason why we go through all these emotional imprints, because we're holding something deeper within that. And typically, I was a colon hydrotherapist, and I saw a lot of bum in my life, and I saw a lot of fecal matter in my life, and I saw how directly connected the intestines were with the mind and then with the emotion. So this is what, I crack up jokes about this, because I say, oh, God made me do colon hydrotherapy because it was the back door to my spiritual practice. Like literally, right? So it's like, all right, Jesus, we know you want me to help people heal on a different level and not from the back door. I get it now, But all that emotions that we're holding onto into our intestines really holds on to a stagnant heart. I've had people cry on my table as we're releasing fecal matter. I've had women say to me, I hate my husband. And I'm like, oh, we're about to have a fight going on in here. Why? Because when we eat our food, what thoughts do we have in our mind? What emotions do we have going on? What's going on subconsciously? Are we in a fight or flight situation? Right? So as we're eating our food, we're putting that same energetic frequency going through our whole body. And if we're in a fight or flight situation, we have no blood flow going through our digestive system. Now that causes more spiritual uproar and not being able to become more comfortable within yourself. You become irritated. Your clothes don't feel right. You feel like you can't fully breathe, right? I always hear people say, Zach, I feel like I'm not in my skin. I feel like I'm not fully here. Well, you most likely aren't. And this is another example of when I lately I've noticed Spirit say to me, Zach, get people out of the underground world. And when people think of the underground world, it's like, oh my God, it's like the bad place. But really the underground world is where your fears are, is where your doubt is where your trauma is where your childhood memories, beliefs, and imprints are. That is the underground world. And why do we look at that as the underground world? Because you can't see the light, it's dark. You're stuck in mud, you're stuck in confusion. So when you're able to get out of that underground world, so let's call it trauma now, and we heal through the trauma. So what happened in my marriage? When did I let go of myself? And I'm speaking about marriage because that's what Nicole came to me for and all this stuff. But there's people that come and say, what happened with my money situation? I was doing so well. I got a promotion at work. I start making more money. I start getting more clients. But then all of a sudden there's a shift happening in my money. Well, what trauma are you holding on to? What guilt are you holding on to? What beliefs are you holding on to? What patterns are you holding on to? So when you break everything down one by one, you start seeing a root cause of an emotion that you've been holding on to that is so deep rooted into the core of your essence that it could take days to get there. I've been doing this with a new client I had. I'm doing a new protocol right now. And we've done 4 days straight of breakthroughs and a total of maybe 9 hours of work so far we've done. And just to see the breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough, everyone has a different root issue. For hers, it was about punishment. She felt like she was getting punished, right? For Nicole, I think, Nicole, for you, it was like not being able to stand up and speak your truth, right? From what I remember.
Yes,
A lot
exactly.
of women,
Yeah, that's
okay.
what we worked on, right? Is not having my voice, staying small, being quiet, because I don't want to upset people. I don't want to hurt their feelings. Yes, we worked on that, and you finally helped me open up my throat chakra to find my truth again.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. Sometimes, a lot of women, when we're stuck in a situation and very unhappy with our life, we actually do lose the force of speaking our power and standing up to ourselves, standing up in our relationship, because there's a lot of fear there, right? Fear is real until you deal with it. And you're like, man, that's what that was? Are you kidding me? I sat in that for that long? So when you're fully letting go of things, and it's hard. When I say work on yourself, it's really about going out there and enjoying yourself and allowing for things to flow with you. Now, it sounds so easy compared to doing the work. And doing the work is just sitting in your emotions. I like saying to my clients, now just be in it. If you want to scream, scream. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to just sit there and do nothing all day, then just sit there and do nothing all day. Just be in it. Feel it. Because when you're feeling it, you're understanding it. But then you ask the deeper question as to why is this appearing? Where did this come in my life? Right? So if you're going through some sort of trauma, a lot of childhood stuff comes up, like wanting to be accepted, wanting to feel loved. Self-acceptance is so big. Everybody wants to feel accepted. Everyone wants to have, everybody wants to be confirmed that they're doing a good job. That's the thing that I'm looking at. When you accept yourself for who you are and you release all the stagnant energy, not only does your life become better, but your sex becomes better. You have better orgasms. You start connecting to your body. You start connecting to your higher consciousness. You start to connect with your tribe of people, and you're wondering, how are all these amazing people coming into my life now? Well, it's because now you've released out of the underground world and now coming into the surface of being seen. The light is shining where once it was fully dimmed. And this is the beautiful part of Nicole's book on Totally Getting Naked. Not only are you getting naked with your hair and the beauty behind it, but you're also getting naked with your spirit and the truth of who you are, your essence, your divinity. I always say I have so many gray hairs, and I'm okay with the gray hair. I went on vacation like this before, and someone says, you're going on vacation with gray hair? And I said, well, I didn't know that could affect the fun level. Like, are you kidding me? Because I have gray hair, I shouldn't go on vacation? I don't care. The hairstylist tells me, see you in 4 weeks. I'm like, I see you in 12. Because at the end of the day, I have control of what goes on my hair. And I didn't even know this BPB, and I'm thinking DMT. Bring me the DMT. Forget about the BPPs and the DDDs, you know? So this is the whole thing. When we fully express and fully let go, we get to step in who we are. And we do this with not fully, I'm going to say this, not fully caring what other people think about us, because we've already come to terms with who we are. And if someone wants to give their opinion of who you are, or if someone wants to just say, oh, so Nicole's this, well, Nicole's a great person, yes, but you wouldn't take offense to what people say is what I'm trying to say to you, because you know who you are. You've healed through your trauma. You went through the mud. You've soared through the most difficult times. You rose like the phoenix. You left the fire. You're now building a new fire. You're having the best orgasms. Your life is magnifying. You're wondering how this is all happening because you let go of the junk that you've been holding on to for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Whew.
Oh my God, Zach, thank you. Okay, stop talking now because you're going to give them way too much. And my 16-year-old daughter's watching. She already now knows I have great, you know what, thanks for that. Now she's going to want to have a conversation around that.
There we go.
Awesome, Zach, you're amazing. And if you could type in how people can get a hold of you just in the chat, that would be great, and follow you on social media. Like I said, she's one of many that I just love and adore. I really believe it was divine intervention that brought us here. And I know I have referred a lot of people to Zach, because people just connect with you, and I just so appreciate you. Okay, so a few things here. I do want to do a few more shout outs. I know I've got some really good dear friends on, so I was just like looking through here. I was like, hi to my friend Andrea and Angela and Anita, one of my dearest friends, April, one of my brave heroes. I'm just scrolling through, just Alona, my dad, Jim, Karen and Rod, my sister and her family, Cameron, thank you for being on here. Megan Raby from Calgary, I love you, girlfriend. You're like awesome. Melissa Hyde, one of my dearest friends. Richard and Sabrina from Edmonton, thank you for being on here. Tanja Coughlin, another one of my dearest friends. She was my university roommate. She lives 30 minutes away from me. Hello, darling. Winnie, oh my gosh, Winnie, I love you. Winnie has been another inspiration, a spiritual mentor of mine. We've been working together. I remember coming to her with this book idea, and it was really after a few sessions of working with Winnie that just everything started to download at perfect timing. And Winnie is in Markham, and you do need a team. You do need a team of people to kind of help, carry you. And I really believe if I never did the spiritual work, if I never went after the dark places that Zach talked about, those, you call it the underground, it's really our shadow, right? Our dark shadow that we try to put away and not peek at. And darn it, Zach, you made me look at every corner and nick and dark shadow. And I remember a session with Zach. It was on a full moon. We like to do a lot of full moon work together. And it was about 6 months in, and she said, oh, finally, girl, you released this energy that has been holding you back. Do you feel it? And I was crying, and my whole body vibrated. She felt it. I felt it. And it just put me on a different path. So I really believe that, when we talk about, working in, and being able to look at the dark places, heal through them, honor them, recognize them, move through them, release them. It's people like Zach and Winnie and Carolyn DuPont and other people in this field that can really help you move it along faster than just working on your own. So again, thank you for all my spiritual mentors that I have been able to connect with. I just so appreciate you. Okay, want to also give a shout out to Sherry Woods. I know that she is on here. She is somebody that has helped me get on TV recently. Sharon and I have been working together, and I think today it actually gets released, my first TV interview with the Chandra show in the United States, and we're working on to get some TV media here in Canada with my book. So I guess I'll ask a favor of you guys. I always say it's okay to ask for help. This is one thing that Zach taught me. Start asking for help. You don't have to do this journey all on your own. So here's a few things I'm going to ask for help. if you have any connections to news, to media, to bloggers, to podcasts, to speaking arrangements, please put in a good word for me so that I can get my message out there to a bigger audience. I would really appreciate it. My big end goal is to be on Oprah. I'm just going to throw it out there. I want to sit down with Oprah and have a conversation about going gray. And also too, I'm a little competitive. If you know who I am, I'm a little competitive. And so when I did look on Amazon and the 5 books that are out there on gray, there's one book that has 167 reviews, and that's the highest number of reviews. And I'm like, I want to beat that. I want to have thousands of reviews on Amazon with my book. So I am going to ask you guys, once you've read the book, is to get on Amazon and do a review so that I can start to really get my message out to the world. And I really do appreciate you for that. Okay, so we're going to do some draws. Nikki Webb, introducing my personal assistant with me for 5 years, helping me manage the machine, right? Family, friends, schedule. She's been an amazing human being in my life, and it's just helped me out and helping me with this book launch. So I'm going to let Nikki take over because I think she's got some questions, right, for the draws. So I'm going to let you take over now, Nikki. Thank you, my dear.
Hey, hi everyone. I hope that my internet is okay. It's been going in and out a lot lately, so hopefully you can all hear me well. So first off, before I get started with the questions, I wanted to congratulate Nicole. This has been such a journey that I feel so blessed to have been a part of. I've been working with Nicole, like she said, for 5 years, and to see her grow and the person that she has turned into within those 5 years, I'm not going to cry. I can feel myself tearing up, but it has been amazing. With Nicole, I work with Melissa and Jen and Sarah, and these ladies have just been such a blessing and amazing clients to start my career and my business, and I'm so blessed to have them. And I wanted to say was that, you know, if you're watching this right now and you're thinking like, you know, you're not going gray, so maybe you don't need this book, or, you know, anything along that line, I have to tell you, I feel like I wish I had this book when I was in my teens, because health was a big thing for me. I've always been into health and learning about health. And I started dyeing my hair when I was 14. And I'm not going gray. I'm 34 and I stopped dyeing my hair 2 years ago. My hair was down to my butt. And I had an aunt that was going through breast cancer, and she started to lose her hair. So I shaved mine with hers. I left like this little teeny bit because it was like my security blanket. But I shaved the rest, all the side and all the rest. But if you knew me, I've been every color. I've been pink, black, red, blue, like peacock, which means I was constantly bleaching and stripping my hair color and then adding colors, which also means I was in the salon usually for 2.5 to 3 hours. So, you know, it's about, Nicole's book has so much information in it just about the chemicals in hair dye that really get you thinking about not just going gray, but accepting and loving your natural hair color and what, you know, what you were born with. I always just thought my hair was blah and it was my way of like having fun. But now I just have fun with haircuts instead of dyeing my hair. So I just wanted to say that I think this book is great for all ages, and especially one that you could offer your teenage daughters that are maybe starting to think about dyeing their hair. So I just wanted to say that piece first before I move on to the questions. So question time. What I want you guys to do is, if you look in the bottom of your screens, you'll see a chat bar. If you could put the answers into the chat bar, not into the Q&A part, because I'll see them first on the chat bar. And then if you also just want to make sure that you answer where it says to, it will say all panelists and attendees, just so that we can kind of keep track better of who answers first. So the first question is going to be for a free book. So one of Nicole's books for free. It is, what is Don James, book editor's first name? Can anyone remember that? I thought I'd start with a hard one.
That is a
Amanda's
hard one.
close. It starts with an
Oh,
A. That was close. Any other guesses?
so close, eh?
Andrea, but that's Nicole Scott, but I don't know who actually is under Nicole's Zoom. So if you answered Andrea and you're under Nicole's Zoom and you're not Nicole Scott, can you just type who actually you are
That's
so that I
funny.
can write down your name? Rolla. Okay, Rolla. I'm just going to write it down so I can connect with you after. Awesome job. So Rolla, that is coming to you. So the next one is going to be for Juice Plus Shakes. So this is just going to be a little package Nicole's going to put together for you of her delicious vegan plant protein powders. So what was Nicole's health scare that made her look into the chemicals? So what was Nicole's health? Oh, whoa, you're going so fast, you guys. I think Andrea White got that first, right? Cysts in the breast.
Yeah, she got
Yeah,
it.
okay,
Andrea got
Andrea
it.
White. Andrea White. Okay, the next one is for, so Green Beaver, which is an amazing company. If you don't know about Green Beaver, you need to go onto their website, read their story. It's absolutely incredible of how they got started as a natural company. And they make natural deodorants and shampoos and conditioners and lotions and everything. It's really awesome. So they've donated 2 packages. So package number 1, the question is, why did Janine shave her head? What was the reason? Does anyone, well, okay, Nicole, you got to catch these. They're going so fast.
Yeah. Let's see who did it at first. Hold on. Love Green Beaver. Niece had cancer. So Carol Covett. Carol.
Carol.
Covatta. You write that down?
Carolcovatta.
Yep.
And if any of you guys, because I know a lot of you guys probably do not have me on social media, so if you are a winner of a prize, can you contact Nicole, message Nicole's social media so that I can grab your addresses and everything like that to mail these out. So the next one is the second Green Beaver package. What did Dr. Mitra Ray react to in hair dye?
I know. See, it's like, oh my God. Oh, okay. Who did the PPD? Oh, my sister. My
Tracy.
sister got it. Tracy. Get some beaver product. Woo woo.
Okay. The next one is going to be an ebook bundle that Nicole put together. So this one's an easier one. You just need to tell me one tip that Jen Pike gave to get healthy hair. Hydrate. Yes. So who said that first?
Oh, who's that? Leah. Sietsema is her last name.
Leah. Lee, I think it says.
Yeah.
Sietsema. Okay, and the last one, this is a package that Nicole has put together. You can go on the website to check it out, but she's going to be giving a one work with her package away. And this one is, how old was Janice when she went gray?
Oh, who said the first one? Oh, I think, I gotta go up. It's so fast. Oh, Tracy got it. Tracy.
Tracy.
Bergquist. Oh, my sister was a close second. You lost this.
Tracy, that wouldn't have been fair for you to get it, your mom.
Right? Awesome. Oh my gosh, that was great, guys. Thank you, Nikki. So what do they need from you? It's just they'll reach out to me. You'll give me the list and I can reach out and get their address and make sure we get everything shipped out to them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And I just want to make note, guys, everyone that has contributed to my book, will get a free signed copy if you haven't already. So I just want to let you guys know that you will get a free signed copy for contributing in my book if you didn't already know that. So how do you get my book? Again, all you have to do is go onto my website, nicolescott.ca, just hit the order button, and we'll be getting books out this weekend in Canada. And if you're in the US, just order off of Amazon. I just so appreciate you guys. Thank you, panelists, for being so brave and bold and contributing in such a positive way to this movement. It's just not one thing encompassing, it's a total package. And I think we covered a lot of that today. And you can see the cool community that I'm a part of, the powerful women that I like to associate myself with. And I always say, you know, pick your 5, because the 5 is who you really do become when you hang out with them enough, and that's a good thing. So make sure you choose your 5 wisely. On that note, I want to just wish you guys a safe, you know, I guess self-isolation. I loved what Jen Pike said about looking at the positive, slowing down, get back to the basic, get into the kitchen, start to make new recipes. I loved all that message. And I know for me, I've connected more with my teenagers than I have in probably a year. So we're playing more games. We just got a dartboard, more dinner. You know, we're at the dinner. We're forced to eat together. Like, how cool is that? There's nowhere else to go. And the one thing I'll say is my one daughter has been doing our Juice Plus Shred program, which is just eating whole foods. And she's been doing it for 3 weeks. And her what did she say? I've never gotten past day 2, Mom. And this is the first time that I've actually experienced it for 3 weeks in my body. And she's like, I love how I feel. So I said, if that's the big bonus out of it, she now knows how she can nourish her body at the age of 16. How cool is that? So I think that's all I have. Nikki, am I missing anything? I think I covered everything on my notes. We're good. Does anybody want to get promoted to panelists so we can see each other and put everybody on the screen? Because I can, Nikki can promote if you want to just, if I can see your face, maybe start to promote. I have to be careful because some of you actually truly might be naked and you might not like me. So yeah, if you just make a comment about being promoted, Nikki can promote you and we can see each other. So one thing about doing a webinar is you can't see each other other than the panelists. And of course, I'm so used to seeing my tribe on social media. My sister's like, pass.
Have them raise, you know how you can do the little hand?
Can you do a little hand? Where do you do the hand?
Oh, there's, oh, look at all these amazing hands going.
Oh yeah, the hands are going up. We get to see you. Yay. Again, thank you, Zach, Dawn, Jen, Janice, my mom. I'm gonna just stay on here so I can see some of you guys come in on the panelists so I can see your beautiful face. Joe's coming in on the panelists. Hi. I love this. I love seeing people. Hi, Joe. Nice to see you. Angela's coming in. Hi, Erica.
Hi.
Get Tanja in there.
For having this.
Oh, my sister is coming into the panel. Okay, that's awesome. I love it. Good
Come
to
on,
see all my
Tracy.
friends. Yay! Missing you guys so much. Oh my goodness. There's my sister. Hey, girlfriend.
You have to put your hand up and say yes, or type in the panelist, yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Tanj. I love all these natural looks. I actually, you know, pretty much in natural all day, except I feel like I got to go on a date and put lipstick on, so I feel special today. Oh, my sister's showing off her silver. Oh, nice, girlfriend. What color do you think you're going to be? You
Hot
think you're
gray?
not silver, white like mom?
Oh, probably.
Yeah?
Maybe more salt and pepper like dad.
Oh, salt and pepper like daddy. Well, let's see. Come on, girlfriend. You're the one that told me I needed to go gray. Now it's your turn.
I haven't had my hair dyed since December, so.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, I see. Is it Marcy from Edmonton? Patricia, Lindsay, Karen and Dad. Hi, guys. Hi, Lori. Awesome. It's so nice to see you guys. Thank you so much for supporting Sahar. Hi, girlfriend. One of my gorgeous gray gals from Uxbridge. Thank you for being on. So awesome.
Hey,
Oh, there's
everyone.
Susan.
Hi.
Hi,
Oh my God,
beautiful.
this was so amazing. You had me almost crying a couple times. I love all you ladies. Thank you.
Oh, Susan, I love you so much. I just interviewed Susan for my YouTube channel. She has a huge movement in the world and got t-shirts and hats. And she has her own Silver Sister Facebook page. And right, look at her hair. 3 years, well, no, you're like 5 years now, right?
I'm 6.5 years.
Yeah, so she's actually one of my gray hair heroes. She's just like,
Aw. Thanks, sister. Love you guys.
she has a new career over 50 as a model. How beautiful is that?
Yay. Yeah, keep an eye out for me on the Boom Cosmetics page because I'm one of their new ambassadors. So right now I have nothing. This is just a clean face. But yeah, anyway, thanks, sisters. So awesome to be part of your community.
Oh, it's so great, guys. Oh, love you. Does anybody want to share, want to comment? Trace, what'd you think? How was the book lunch?
It was great. I'm just sad I'm not there. I wish I was there and we were downtown Toronto, and but it was beautiful. It was so great to see Zach and Jen Pike. I mean, you got me following her podcasts, and of course I know Mitra, and that was wonderful to see her and her inner sparkle's bigger than apparently her sparkle in her hair. Yeah, it's beautiful, Nick. I hope you are so proud of yourself. Like, it comes from your own pride that you've worked so hard, and you've just followed your passion and your dream, and you just keep plugging forward. And there might be 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but you kept moving forward, and it's just such an inspiration, and it's amazing. And I feel so blessed that I am your blood sister. Like, I mean, we've been best friends now since the Southwestern Company poured us together, and it's just been an awesome journey. Like, I'm so grateful that we're friends and sisters, because I know so many people who family isn't connected, and I just feel really, 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 really blessed that we've kept our family together, and friendships and love, like, first and foremost. And I mean, when I think back to how all of our journey really started, even in the health field, is I was blessed to be diagnosed with celiac disease, and my family had no idea what the heck this was and why I was the lucky one. And my sister, I flew out to Toronto, and she drove me straight to the Celiac Association of Canada, and we figured it out. And it led her into her nutrition journey, and my mom into that, because they started reading labels. And then we all started going, well, why can't we pronounce these? And 2000 was a pivotal year for us in our family of nutrition, and changing our trajectory for health and wellness to Juice Plus to hair dye. Like, who knew? But I feel like that was just a catalyst, because we all had to figure out what that was, and how we can. And like I've always said, celiac has been a blessing in disguise in my particular life, but in my entire family's life, because it set us up for just an awesome 20-year journey of health and nutrition. So yeah.
It's so funny. We're so connected when it comes to we're just so connected. We live across the country. She lives in Alberta. I live in Ontario. I've been away from her since half of my life, which thank gosh she works in with WestJet. So I always get to fly companion and all that great stuff. So I've actually, been very blessed to see them often. And a couple weeks ago, I sent her a message and I said, I just did a Costco run. And her first question is, how much? I'm like, $5.50. She goes, I beat you, $9.96. I'm like, geez. And of course, we're always about the new find at Costco. So I pipe up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm standing in line waiting to get into the produce section, because they only let 3 people at a time. And I'm looking over, and there's the avocado hummus. And I look over and I'm like, oh, orange, vegan, cheese sauce, So I walk over and I pick it up. Of course, the first thing I do is read every single ingredient. So I'm like, oh my gosh, this sounds so amazing. So of course I buy one. I get home. She texts me, and the first thing she said is, oh my God, I just got this vegan cheese thing. Have you tried it? It's so amazing. She goes, hide it from your kids, hide it from everybody, hide it from Brad. You're just going to hoard it yourself.
And I was standing waiting to get into the food section at the same time, and we're like driving away from Costco talking. And I was like, yeah, we like our always our nemesis has been nachos and cheese. So to find something like this, we were like, oh my gosh, no phlegm.
Yeah, so of course, you know, we ate through that in about like 5 days. My kids did find it, you know, it was the topping on their nachos. So last Sunday, I'm like, Brad, we got to get up early. So we're up at, 8, we're in the car at 8:30, we're going off to Costco. And all I can think about is this vegan, like this afternoon, like cracking open a nice, glass of like Chardonnay and like my, organic corn chips and my cheese sauce. And when you just have it in your mind that you're going to get it that afternoon and it's just going to make your entire day. Well, it's raining, it's Sunday. So of course I'm like, nobody's going to be around that early. So we get out, we realize we don't have any umbrellas. I'm like, that's okay. I'll just like throw my jacket over. And I saw this like little line like around the corner. I'm like, okay, Brad, we're still going to go for it. Like, it might be like a 15-minute line, but I didn't realize that the line had also wrapped around the building and into the parking lot. And my face went from like this to like, because I knew I was not going to stand outside at Costco for 2 hours. So I walked to my car with my tail between my legs. I went to Superstore. There was no cheese sauce, plant-based. So
yeah, I did the same yesterday. It was an hour wait and I'm like, can't do it. But I got cheese sauce still because I had a friend who was going. I'm like, I need 2, which I gave one away.
Yeah.
Anyway, this was wonderful. And it's, I've always known you've had a massive tribe of people through your Juice Plus business and just being an amazing human being. And you've like, the only downside to it is that you've created yourself such a network out east that it's kept you out east. And that's always been the hardest thing. I was like, when she said she got a new boyfriend, I was like, is he in Calgary? So I keep thinking we'll be back in the same city one day, and preferably before my children are grown up, because
she's like, I need a babysitter. These twins are all out of work.
yeah. But definitely the travel industry has kept us closer than most, and I'm blessed for that.
For sure.
And nice to see everyone here and hear your stories. And Dawn, I've probably got a couple books in me that I'm just trying to find the courage or the space and time and the inspiration to. So maybe I'll take you up on that phone call.
I wanted to say, thanks, Tracy. I wanted to say before we go, it is so vitally important to believe in yourself and to accept yourself. And I mean, Nicole, your book is all about self-acceptance and being brave, but also recognizing the support, the mentors. I mean, meeting Zach in the shoe section of Winners, it is so important we pay attention to those signs that keep us on the path so we do what we came here to do. And until we make that first step, we can't get there without that first step. So believe in yourself, accept yourself. And my motto, everything you need is already in you. Just remember that. Love you. Love you all.
Thank you.
I'll just say to my mom's story and to my sister's point, when my mom told me she was going gray, in reflection, I was like, no, you can't. Like, you're too young. I'm too young. And I think what it was is this idea of mortality. And because we know every moment of every day we're aging and we're growing older and we're moving in that direction. And it was just, it's also that fear, like in that, you're right, Dawn, that self-acceptance that this is where I'm at now. And yes, I'm going to die, but there's that sense of that mortality is so legit then, right? And so I just remember I did not want my mom to go gray. I was just mortified. And, good on you, woman. You're like, nope, I'm sick of dyeing my hair. I'm going to do this. Never mind the fact that you used to give me Tony perms. Imagine those toxins. But nonetheless, you know, she's owned it and rocked it. And there is not one time that I'm out with my mother that someone doesn't say, I love your hair. I love your purple. Like, so it just shows. And a friend of mine the other day dropped off some stuff, and she was wearing a big headband, and I go, oh, it's been a while since you've been at the hairdresser, Isabel. And she's like, yes. And I was like, can't fight it, honey. And she's like, I'm just not ready. And I said, well, she goes, I won't look good in gray hair. And I remember saying to her, I said, Mother Nature does not make you not look good. Like, you're supposed to go gray, so you're supposed to look good in the gray that you get. So I do trust that, because at first there's that fear of changing your colors and, oh, I can't wear this color anymore. And, you know, there's all truth to that. But yeah, anyway, there I am speaking.
Yeah, that's the number one fear, Tracy, in my group is that I'm going to look old. So in the top 3 questions, that I'm going to look old. So we have this fear of looking old. And I think the fear comes from, I'm not going to be desired. My husband may not think I'm sexy anymore, or if you're single, I'm not going to be able to find a mate. And I think it's just so ingrained from us generational, is that women, we were supposed to look a certain way so that we could breed and have babies, right? And so that's still with us today, even though we might be 50, and it's still in that, like, I still have to look young and youthful. You know, that fear of maybe my partner will leave me for a younger partner because I don't look as. So I think that's the number one fear, is I'm going to look old. There's no way I'm going to go gray. And it's just the story that we end up getting fed. When I was researching the book and I started to research the commercials from the 50s and the 60s of what we were marketed to, I wanted to cry. I absolutely wanted to cry. There were headlines that were pretty much saying, the message was, you have to dye your hair if you want your husband to love you. You have to dye your hair if you want your neighbors to associate yourself with. Like, it was that bold. Like, it was just like, if you don't dye your hair, you're nobody, you're nothing, woman. So what's interesting is I find the women that have the hardest time to transition are the women that got fed that story in the 50s and 60s. So not so much the young women today. I find that they're more embracing and like, yeah, whatever, I'm okay, but they haven't been in that generation of brainwashing, right? Media is brainwashing, and you repeat that over and over again, so then you think that's the truth. So it's interesting to see that.
Mm-hmm. Nicole, I just wanted to add to, it's never too late, because my mother-in-law, who's going to be 86, I think only the last 2 years, and she wasn't ready, and she had somebody close to her that said, oh, you can't do that, you'll look too old. And she bought it for a while, and then she finally decided, and she loves it. So you have to be ready, like you said, but it's never too late.
Yep.
And one other quick thing, my doctor, who is of the Muslim faith, you know, and her hair is always covered, we got talking about it, and she said, oh, my husband said to me, you better start dyeing your hair because you're going to look old. So I didn't think it was across all cultures, but it really is. And I said to her, don't buy that. You got to join my daughter's Gorgeous Gray movement. She said, oh, I'll never dye my hair. So good on her.
Awesome. I love the movement. I love the strength that it brings in women. It's so much more than a hair color, but a statement to the world. I am me, I am good, I'm accepting aging, and I'm doing it for my health, right? I'm doing it for my health, and nobody else has the right to tell you not to do it. And if they do, it's their story and their drama, not yours, right? Well, awesome, guys. Again, thank you so much. I've been up since early, actually 4:30. So Spirit actually got me out of bed at 4:30. I was like, really? On the day of my book launch, you couldn't give me an extra 2 hours of sleep? And they're like, nope, you got to go to work. So I got up early and did what I needed to do to get to this place of gratitude, yeah, just knowing that this is the right time. I mean, who would have thought that in the middle of an isolation crisis, one of the number one fears women has is, when is the hair salon going to open? So, yeah, I'm really excited, and as to say, the timing is right to get this message out. So thank you for your love. Thank you for your support. It's so lovely to see you. Trace, I'll message you with a glass of Vito, and we can share one-on-one after this, okay? Awesome, guys. Again, thank you.
I changed to my glass. I changed it to glass.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Thanks, Jen Pike.
Thank you, Nikki. We'll get those books out to you. And thanks again, Dawn. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for supporting. I love you guys. Have a good Saturday afternoon.